welcome to the stream. Today is another 12-hour Academy day before we go around and say hello to our wonderful players, including Ray, new DM, also literally sitting in the Bayou. Look at that green mist, it's amazing. Before we go and do that, please take a moment to check out our social links. There you can find our Discord, Twitter, and YouTube, where you come and become TikTok, tic-tac. There we go. Put my teeth back in. Right. There you can go and find our Discord. You can come and be a part of the community. If you want to get involved, you can send me a DM on Twitter and we'll do all of the wonderful things. If you want to go and catch up on all of our regular streams and see past streams where you will see these wonderful characters, you can head over to the YouTube, Choir of Elements, where you can find Holly and Danielle this season. And if you look at last season, you will find WithaBrickk in Tilt and Completely Normal and lots of other wonderful, wonderful shows. Hey. Spoiler, it gets emotional towards the end. Check out our sponsors as well. The Deck of Many, our newest sponsor. You may know that they made the Deck of Many things, but did you know about their Deck of Many animated things and the Deck of Many animated spell cards? If not, you should go and check out their website now. These are cards that actually move and do things whilst you play them. So like if you cast Eldritch Blast, you freaking cast Eldritch Blast. Also check out Mageham Press, who create third-party content for 5e, including Dark Matter, which you can see on Thursdays at 1 PM. It's a space campaign. Dark Matter is made for space, lots of space. Also, Justin will be running a game at 7 PM today in Dark Matter. Also, I've made... Oh, Ambly's in chat, right? Ambly, I've made Space Steve. I realised that people who weren't here for the Dead Mountain some 2 years ago may not know what I'm talking about when I talk about Steve, but Ambly will. If Ali's in chat, Ali will. If Ed's in chat, Ed will, like the original 4. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go around and say hello to everyone. Ray, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really great. I'm really nervous, but I'm also extremely excited. Yeah. So, hi everyone. Thanks for deciding to play in my wacky little Bayou adventure.
It's gonna be great. Where can we find you? Where do you do all your things?
I'm on Twitter and Twitch and Instagram, all under WithaBrickk. Right under my name, you can find me there. I'm kind of working on some secret things right now, so it'll be a little bit before I announce anything, but tune in and stay tuned, because I do have stuff coming. So yay.
I did not realize you streamed. I'm going across to follow you right now. Fantastic. Why is your background so zoomed in? Thank you for pointing that out, Ambly. I will fix that immediately. The answer is because I... Hi. Next around the screen, let's go to... who should we go to next? Who wants to go next? Holly, hi.
Well, hi. I'm Holly. I'm Sagephilia. You can find me there on Twitter when I remember I have a Twitter. I'm also here on Tuesday evenings at 7 for Choir of Elements, where I play Decadence of the Crystalline Cove. Today, I am playing the former Lady Cluckington III, noble turned jaded vigilante of the swamp. So I'm pretty excited. I'm a chicken Arakocra ranger, and I am just hype. I am hyped to go in the swamp.
So ready for the swamp. So ready. And next around, we have Danielle at Rakentor.
Hi, everybody. I'm Rakentor on Twitter, where you can follow me for all kinds of nerdy things. You can also find me here, like Scrat and Holly both said, on Tuesdays, where I run the Choir of Elements. Tune in this week. It's going to be a big session. And you can also find me around at other channels playing other games like Invisible Sun and Dungeons and Deductibles, the Fantasy Insurance Claims Adjusters game, which is, always a good time. And today I am playing Sorrow Amberstrike, who is a kind of spooky tiefling paladin. It's my first time playing a paladin, so we'll see how this goes.
And that just leaves me. I am muted, but I'm not anymore. I'm also updating because I've realized that I am not playing Kardak Unterbrook. That is not something I'm doing, so we'll update that immediately. That'll be fading in now. I am, in fact, playing Kezjinkov. I grew up in the Bayou, and I'm ready. Let's play.
Oh, this is gonna be so good. This is gonna be so good. I'm so excited. All right. So, if everybody's ready, we can settle in to our adventure. So, deep in the south, beyond most reaches of the realm and hidden in mist, lies a dark region known as Bogsmire. None of you have ever visited the region before now, minus a few of you, but you've all heard about it as children. The scary stories your elders told you in order to keep you in line originated here. Tales of woe, both at the hands of the arcane as well as the interesting inhabitants of the swamp, are all but too real. The most entrancing, yet deadly beasts walk these lands, making this area not popular among common folk. But you all are not common folk. Deep in the heart of the Bogsmire, almost as if it wasn't quite meant to be found, resides its only town, Bullerow. The village is known to be home to the most unwelcomed of the races across the realm. Tieflings, Yonti hybrids, lizard folk are just a few of what you'll see roaming the streets. It's become a haven for the rogues and outcasts across all lands, and a hotspot for hands to exchange borrowed goods. As known adventurers of the realm, you've each been sought out and told that an important task lay ahead of you once you've arrived in the town. You've all traversed here over days and days of travel from whatever corners you hail from, and currently find yourselves in the den of the Morrow Maker's Inn, the only tavern and inn inside of the town. It wasn't very hard to miss. You've all settled in, paid the dues for a few nights' stay, and are enjoying a couple beverages beside the fire. It crackles low, orange and red, and licks across the wood that feeds it. It's warm, but honestly, it's a little unsettling. The tavern walls are made of dull stones covered in moss here and there. Beside the firelight in the hearth, the only other source of light, are two candles lit beside the portcullis in the corner where you entered earlier. The other two round tables in the room are just shy of empty. For one, in the table directly behind yours, sits an extremely old male tiefling, horns almost wilted looking, and hair as dark as shale. And at the table behind that one, off in the corner slightly to the left, sits the barkeep, a female Yonti human half-blood with snake-like eyes and long black hair. She sits with her feet on top of the table, reading a book of some kind and seemingly deep in thought. What are you all doing as you sit around the hearth?
Before we go in, big thank you to Edmund and Gemsong, who are in here with the subs. First of all, Edmund, 26 months in a row subscribed. The longest subscriber. Subscribed on our very first day that we got affiliate, which means we've been affiliate for 26 months. Thank you so much, Ed. Also, Gemsong gifting out subs to WithaBrickk and Danielle. You all have advantages to gift or keep for yourself. And Ambly also has an advantage to gift as well. And you know what? I haven't done Ambly's command in a while. You should all go and check out Ambly. She did the artwork here and most of our artwork, to be honest. Laissez les bon temps rouler. I'm ready. I'm sitting around the fire. I'm sitting kind of quiet, and I'm brooding.
Picking delicately at a plate and looking around very, very shiftily as I'm picking this plate.
I've got my legs pulled up in the chair with me, and I'm just nursing a drink.
Should we go over some descriptions? So, like, I'm a lizard folk, but I'm real small for a lizard folk. Lizard folk, they're usually tall. I'm a small lizard folk. I'm like standing around 5'4", so I sit most of the time. That way I don't have to, worry about height issues. I've got these orange and green feathers on the back of my head. Mossy green scales. I don't wear no clothes.
Anyone ever mistaken you for a kobold?
Not and lived.
Okay.
What do I see when I look at the rest of you? I'm looking over at well, actually, I imagine Lady Cluckington looks quite noble, so I'm not looking at you. I'm looking at Sorrow.
So, Sorrow is a purple-skinned tiefling with horns that curl up over the top of her head. She has gold eyes with no sclera, and she's got she's wearing a chain shirt, and then she has a rapier with one of those really ornate hilts at her side. And all of her clothing is just black, like other than what she's wearing. And she generally looks very. I mean, she's probably brooding as much as you are, SG.
Lady Cluckington has a hood pulled up, the leather cloak, and looks like one of those people that's trying not to be noticed, but just has an air of not quite belonging. And she is definitely looking about as though watching or waiting or searching for something. And she looks like a chicken, but a rather robust chicken, not like the pampered poultry tough chick. And she has a very long bow strapped to her back and a quiver with arrows.
Okay, so as you're all kind of gathered around this room doing whatever you are doing, you see the barkeep kind of close her book, put it down, almost like slamming it on the table, like obnoxiously loud, and scoots her chair back, gets up, and you see her kind of walk around to the bar and rummage around and grab a couple drinks and put them on, the bar top, fill them with some mead. She starts walking over to the table where you're all sitting and sets them down and like quietly, silently just puts one in front of all three of you and says, she kind of like crouches low to the table and her snake-like figure like contorts her body in a way that catches you all very much off guard. It's very quick but very like gentle and agile at the same time, and she gets really low and she says, so I think you're the ones that I'm supposed to give some important information to. I'm not quite sure, but besides this one, and she points to Heshing, she says, besides this one, I know the other two of you really aren't from around here, so I'm figuring you're the ones I'm looking for.
I think that's an accurate assumption to be making.
Yes, that seems likely.
And she'll like look over to Heshing and just be like, so how did you get wrapped up all in this mess? Because I know who sent you. I know why you're here, obviously. So, really, this is what you're working with.
Yeah.
Kind of like eye everybody up and down. Outsiders are not quite welcome around here, so she's very judgmental.
These Dagu need someone who can navigate the swamp, you know.
Well, I guess you have a point there. And so strap in, and I'm not real sure how this works, but I was just instructed to throw it into the fire. And you see her like out of her pocket, she picks up this ball, and it's not quite like a ball of energy or a ball of light. It kind of has some weight to it, but it's blue in color and it kind of radiates its own like pulsing energy. And you see her walk over to the fire that you're all sitting in front of and throw it into the fire, and all of a sudden the fire explodes, and there's this like very fast and bright arcane light that pops out, and it's very like white. It's almost like a flash of a camera. It's very just quick, and out of it comes this silvery white like wispy tendril, and it kind of like creeps up, and you see it waving back and forth, and from it speaks, says, "Dear adventurers, thank you kindly for gathering together, for this matter is urgent and quite disturbing. I have run out of all other options within my power, and now seek out the help of others in this quest to regain something that was stolen from me and those I preside over. Follow the lighted path out the door to my temple further into the swamp. You will know when you have reached my doorway, and here I will tell you the rest of what you need to know. Travel fast, travel safe, and watch your backs." The swamp can be unforgiving to the unobservant. Lady Eleva. And as it ends, the tendril whips back into the fire, and there's that flash again. And then the fire dies down back to exactly how it was. And the barkeep kind of looks at all of you and kind of like looks at the fire and just like puts her hand on her hip, smacks the table a couple times and says, well, good luck. If you need any more of the beverages provided, I'll be behind the bar. But I think my duty here is done. And she just like trails off and sits behind the bar, and you see her pick her book back up and sit down and start reading it.
Does this lady's name sound familiar? Like, was she in a like high court?
Should sound familiar to you. She's God touched.
God touched, is that what you call them?
Well, that's what I call someone who's literally been touched by a god.
So not all nobles.
No, not noble. Yeah.
Is she a cleric of some kind?
Are you asking me or are you asking?
I was asking Hessing.
Yeah. Hesdring sort of like puts a finger in his, somewhere where you imagine his ear might be and starts picking between the scales. Not that I know of. She's mostly a lady. You know, doing all that things that ladies do. Like being a dryland court and stuff. It's not important.
If
Probably.
either one wants to make a Arcana or a History check, by all means, you are more than welcome to see if you do recognize her name by any means.
And whilst we are doing that, we've got some more things in as well. Thank you very much to Sphinx, who gives 5 subs to the community. So Vivacia, Oral Fixation, Nox Noctua, Nerd Meat, and Greasy Thighs. You each have been gifted an advantage. Feel free to let us know who...
Names.
Oh, they're fantastic. They're fantastic. Let us know where you want those advantages to go. And thank you very much, Ed, for gifting that one to me earlier. If the rest of you who also been gifted subs... Oh, hang on. No, it's literally you two, Ray and Holly. Where do you want your subs to go?
Oh, I'll take mine.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. And Holly?
Yeah, I'll take mine.
Yeah. Following suit. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool. So with both of those roles, you have both heard of her before. Being a paladin, you know that she is divine touched, and what he does mean by that is mean that she is probably a descendant of some kind of lineage that is divine in nature. Whatever that lineage is, you don't know per se, but you do recognize her name as being someone who is of extreme importance in that realm. Lady Cluckington, you do also kind of get the same gist. Like, she's very important and special, but to the degree you've not quite discerned as much.
Lady Cluckington will take a last couple pecks and put the plate down, stand up and kind of do the feather ruffle, and I'm ready whenever you are.
Well, I think we're supposed to make some haste, so... And I'll stand up as well and, pull my hood up and...
Cool. So are we heading out of the, little tavern inn at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so...
Cool. So as you open the door and walk outside, can you all make me a perception check? Oh, cool.
Nope.
So, Lady Cluckington, you immediately see it. You see all of a sudden, you see these mushrooms start growing out of the ground, and placing themselves in a direct path in front of you. Like you look down and you immediately notice that these mushrooms are growing out of the ground, and as they are growing out of the ground, they are lighting up in these like little designs and swirly pathways to obviously give you a direct path of which way to go. However, Sorrow, like you open the door and you bust out and like you're looking up and you're looking like in the trees and you just like run to the like the right side of the door and you like look around the building and then you're running back to the left, you're looking around the building, like you are looking so hard in all the wrong places, unfortunately.
I mean, to be fair, nobody ever looks up, so that makes complete sense to me.
Yes. And then Hesting, you also see very shortly after Lady Cluckington kind of looks down and is starting to realize what is happening, you also see that there are these bioluminescent mushrooms growing. Like as you start taking a couple steps, they grow more and more further and further in front of you and light up the way as you continue walking. You can see that they kind of like veer off a little bit and turn a corner. And
Can I pick one?
Yeah, you can pick one.
I want to sniff it.
Okay, as you pick it, the bioluminescence kind of fades. It like pulses for a second and then dies, and it looks just like a normal mushroom. And when you sniff it, it kind of just smells like decay, some earthy tones.
Can I nibble it?
Yeah, make a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, you have been, you know your way around this area. You taste weird things all the time. Your immune system is pretty strong at this point. So it just kind of tastes icky. It tastes like a unsatisfying mushroom, nothing crazy. It doesn't make your stomach gurgle or anything like a normal person's would, because you eaten some crazy stuff in these parts. So no worries. Just tastes like an icky mushroom.
This thing's barely good for seasoning. Also, thank you very much to Vicky, QTV, who gives an advantage to Danielle to even things out. And also thank you very much, Gooners, for the donation. With a £5 donation, you can gift an advantage or a disadvantage. It's up to you. Let us know where you would like that to go. And thank you, everyone, for starting to make a dent on today's daily goal. That is a goal for the whole 12 hours. Well,
I don't
yeah.
think you're supposed to eat them. I think we're supposed to follow them.
Follow what?
Feathery gesture. Kind of like does the chicken scratch at the ground at the mushrooms.
I'll have you know, I eat what I want. There's only two things in the swamp. Lizards and food.
You don't eat other lizards.
Not unless I'm real hungry.
Right, well, you can't eat all of them because we need to follow them.
Nah, they don't taste good anyway.
What direction are they leading off into? Like,
so as you see, like you go out of the door, and where the tavern is, it's right on the outskirts of town. It's one of the first buildings that you run into right before you actually get into town, because most people just want to stay around those parts for the inn and don't care much about else. So it's like right on the outskirts of the town, and the door is facing in the opposite direction of which you came, so back towards whatever trails are outwards. So you see it lead in that direction, but instead of going off and towards like another like part of the territory, you see it kind of wrap around to the right and kind of go into an area of the swamp you can't quite see because of all the vegetation.
feather fluff and continue to follow.
Yeah, I'll stop after Lady Cluckington.
Okay. So as you start to now leave the area in front of the inn and make your way around that first initial corner, who is going to kind of the way is lit. However, there is some stray vegetation and a little bit of like muckiness. You are in rough terrain because you are now in like murky, sloshy, boggy type of water. So as you traverse forward, who is kind of going to lead the charge?
I did pick up Natural Explorer swamp style.
All right.
But I'm also not probably not originally from the swamp, but I've probably been around for a bit.
Oh yeah, like you definitely, you're all adventurers, so wherever you hail from in your past adventures has like suited you very well for the terrain and for the job type that is at hand. However, it is still kind of like foreign territory because you've never been to this specific place.
I'm not particularly perceptive, but I have dark vision. I don't know if that influences the calculus at all.
Survival check. So if two people want to do it, or one person wants to give advantage, I'll say if anybody's helping anybody, it'll be a survival check.
I'm decent at survival.
Cool.
I am proficient, so I can go first if that's
perfect.
So do you want me to go ahead and roll that check?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Perfect. So you have no problem kind of getting around that first corner and seeing some like crazy brush and vegetation. It's still lit, but those like the mushrooms don't grow just on the ground. Like where there's a log or something in the way, it grows on the log, and it's kind of like taking you around this like very crude sort of path. Like you see that it must have been traversed a couple times, but it's nothing like a likely path that you would see any other day. So you have no problem getting about 10-15 minutes into the walk. You are presented at a fork in the road. You all kind of come up and stop, and there's this crazy like kind of dead stump in front of you that's really tall, and there's a path to the left that's lit and a path to the right that's lit.
Are they lit the same way?
They are lit the same way. They look exactly the same, but one goes
go both ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe the dead stump has some kind of clue in it, you know. Inwills, thank you so much for hosting in with 20 viewers. Hi everyone, welcome Academy Day. Okay, why don't we investigate this here stump? I'm gonna get my hand in. I'm gonna find some nooks or crannies. I'm gonna get right in there.
Okay. Roll me an investigation.
Real good at that. Whoa. There's a dog in here!
See, out of nowhere. No, okay.
What are you doing in the swamp, dog? Get out!
So you're kind of like crawling up, up along the stump and sticking your head in like all the little dead crevices that you can find in this like hollowed out stump. And the only thing that you seem to come across is like an old nest of a bird of some kind and some like dead leafy debris, some mud, nothing too crazy. It doesn't seem like there's anything of importance on the stump.
Can I see anything down either path, or do they truly look identical both ways?
Make me a perception check. Which path are you looking down first?
We'll say I look down the left one first.
Okay. Cool. With that, like you kind of peer around the stump and you see that one way you just see like a bunch of trees. Very interesting looking trees. The greenery on them is a little bit brighter than the other greenery that's around. They're a little bit taller, meatier looking. They kind of look out of place in this environment. They catch you kind of off guard, but that's all you see on the left side. You see just the path and it's lit the same way, but on the side of it, you just see these interesting looking trees bearing some sort of fruit or flower or something on them. You're not quite sure exactly what.
Okay. And do you want me to roll separately to look down the right path? All right, cool.
Well, whilst they're looking, I'll be like, so, you look fancy with your feathers and such. They're all preened.
Ew. Your feathers are also preened.
No, they're not. Don't butter me up. You look like you know the swamp real well, but you look too clean. You might want to oil yourself up or something, or your feathers are gonna get all mucky.
I don't think I need to oil myself up at all. That's not how that's not how feathers work.
Totally how feathers work. Look at this one. And I pull out one feather that's like stuck between my scalp. I'm like, it looks almost like moss. I'm like, I've had this one for nearly 8 years now. It's just about hanging on. It's all straggly like. It helps with the camouflage. I put it over my face. Okay, put it back in.
Lady Cluckington ruffles the feathers and kind of like leaves them kind of sticking up at some weird angles.
Sorrow walks by and she rolls her eyes, but you can't tell because she doesn't have sclera. So she rolls her eyes and you don't even know.
During this conversation, and you walk around, you kind of are a little distracted by the conversation, but you do look around the right path, and you do see on that side it's almost exactly the same. However, the vegetation are a bunch of bushes.
Okay.
You see a bunch of like these viney, beautiful and tangled brush, with once again some sort of fruit or flower growing off of it. You're not exactly quite sure, but both paths look exactly the same. One has a bunch of interesting trees, one has a bunch of interesting bushes.
Trees or bushes?
What?
Do you want to go down the path with the trees or the one with the bushes?
Well, we
Could I
could
make
probably...
a- Go ahead.
Well, we could probably find, like, bird-like stuff near the trees if you fancy some kind of roasted thing, or the bushes are more likely to hide, like, crawfish nests.
Lady Cluckington, do you know anything, or I guess Hesting too, do you know if there are any particularly dangerous types of trees or bushes in this swamp?
I've never been to this part of the swamp, but there are in nature dangers.
Could I make, like, a nature or survival roll to, like... see what I-
Nature.
Nah, it's probably fine.
Exactly to a T. It's probably fine.
Thanks, that's very encouraging.
Although I must admit, I don't have the meaty flesh, you know, the stuff that looks real good on the fire. Scales, that's what you need.
Right. Okay, well, I'm not in any danger of developing scales in the next 15 minutes, so which way would you like to go?
Lady Cluckington will
Will mute?
Lady Cluckington will take out a coin and give it a feathery flip. And heads is going to be head/1 is going to be left, and tail/2 is going to
I have
be
a coin if you want us to flip a coin. It's
Yep.
it's a Sam no.
Yep.
Say it's my like Sam Regal Liam O'Brien coin. There it is.
All right, bushes it is, I suppose. And,
I like bushes anyway.
I'm gonna head down the path. Like I have no response to that.
All right. Okay, so as you traverse down on the right path, you see, once again, as you approach them now, you see these beautiful, like, brushes of just these viney, beautiful flowers. You see that they kind of look like they almost have, like, a feathery plumage to themselves. Like a hibiscus flower kind of has that, like, really center pollen, like, stems. They're very long, and they're orange, like very bright orange, and in stark contrast to the flower itself, which is white and has very long kind of flowery petals. And there's 7 of them. There's 7 white flowery petals, and there's about between 4 and 6 of these very long pollen stems in the center of this bright orange.
Is it possible to go around them?
Yeah, like they kind of cradle the path. They kind of come in a little bit, and the vines and some of the flowers kind of like go across the path and around them and stuff. But they're not in your way at all. They're not, obstructing you in any sort of way. They're just there.
Can I aggressively flap at them to see, like, to disperse some pollen and see if anything spectacular happens?
Yeah, make an attack roll on these this bush.
Do that. Saro just pulls up her shirt, like.
I'll just do my unarmored.
Oh, perfect.
Critical flapping.
And your flap is so intense, and in those moments, the wind is so precise that you actually chop off 2 of these flowers from the vine as you try to flap them. And you see as they get picked and kind of fall to the ground, they kind of pulse very quickly with this like white radiant light and then fall to the ground. But the pollen disperses, some of the leaves disperse with that critical hit, some of the vines get chopped off as well, but besides that like little arcane pulse, nothing happens.
Does anybody know any magic? This looks magic.
I mean, I know some magic, but not really the right kind for this.
I mean, give me 50 minutes of crawfish and a fire and I'll show you some magic, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, just try to arcana that. I know a little magic.
Even with that roll, has anybody picked them up? Or are they still just on the ground? The 2 that she
Not touch them.
Nobody's touching them? Okay. With that roll, then you wouldn't discern anything more than just what you've already seen, that pulse of little white glow as they just fall to the earth and are sitting now in front of you guys.
Lady Cluckington III will gesture at one and gesture towards Heshing and say, "Also food?"
Probably. Pinch a tail and suck the head, find out.
Lady Cluckington isn't gonna eat it, but she will go over and like pick one up. So don't see.
As you pick one up, everybody else will see it. Lady Cluckington, you will notice it as a feeling more so than anything visual. But for Saro and Heshing, you will see her all of a sudden kind of, almost as the flower had this pulsating white glow, she, as a Aarakocra, will also have that pulsating white glow and kind of dim out. And you feel, Lady Cluckington III, you feel all of a sudden, you feel like more confident. You feel able to take on things a little bit more with like your shoulders back and your head held high, and you will get +1 to all of your charisma rolls until your next long rest.
Woohoo! It's a flat 0.
Woo!
This feels good. This feels amazing. You each should get a flower.
And like all you saw was her like pulse and glow for a very quick moment.
So
I think she's high, Cher.
Okay, well, you don't look like you're hurt.
Not at all. This feels...
If anything, she looks like she's almost like glowing. She looks like very like physically confident. You see her kind of like the ruffle of her feathers is more like just very like she's got a presence to her.
I'll go ahead and pick one up too, very like tentatively. Like I pull out my rapier and like slide it over and like look at it for a minute and then like take off one of my gloves and pick it up.
Cool. As soon as you hold it in your hand, everybody will everybody will also see the same thing. You will kind of pulse very quickly and it will die out and you will feel this like instant wave of confidence and bravery take hold, and you also will have +1 to your charisma rolls until your next long rest.
So it looks like it's good then. I'm gonna walk over with my gator-like lizard man jaw and I'm just gonna eat it.
Perfect. You'll see it kind of start in his mouth. That glow kind of like starts in the mouth from being picked very suddenly, and then all of a sudden the rest of his body will follow suit and have that white glow, and You too, Hashing, will also have +1 to your charisma rolls until your next long rest.
I feel like being nice to people. This is weird.
All right. So are we traversing forward?
Yes, I think so. Everybody ready to go? Cool.
Alrighty. As we are traversing forward, who is taking this part of the rest of the trek? Where are you up?
I can stay in the lead if y'all would like that.
Hey everyone. Really sorry about that content warning. Please do not be alarmed. I don't think Ray is genuinely going to throw any of that at us. I think I think we're okay. Whoops. Just get rid of those. There we go. Sorry.
Do you want another survival check? Okay.
I could help out this time.
Cool. Perfect. So both of you taking kind of the helm, you have no problem kind of traversing the next sort of little area of this bioluminescent path. And as you are walking, Lady Cluckington, are you kind of with everybody? Are you walking behind a ways? Where are you in correspondence to the two who are kind of leading the charge?
I think I'm definitely rear guarding it, but I'm trying to stay alert and also sort of, strutting my stuff. I haven't felt this charismatic since court, so.
Perfect. Then why don't you make me a perception check and see, kind of keep in the back while they keep the front. Okay, so you are feeling so confident. You are just kind of ruffling your feathers and living your best life in these moments, and you are just enjoying yourself. You think that
I'm a harpy eagle right now.
Yes,
No
very
chicken.
And as you are sort of in your moment, you see out of the corner of your eye 2 figures dart past you in each direction, like heading from the back forward and kind of swooping in front and disappearing somewhere in the trees again.
Lady Cluckington will let out the alert noise. There's something. Just went past us. Did you see it?
Is that it? Is that your alarmed noise?
There's not a similar noise in the swamp.
And that is a fair point.
I mean, it's just very loud. Maybe you could, I don't know, make something a little bit more regular that people might not, like, hiss. That's a good one. Hiss. Reminds me of a name. Hiss. Yeah.
I don't think I can do that.
That's okay.
What was it anyway? What did you see?
Something swooping. I don't know. Disappeared. 2 things.
Yes. Swooping.
You all want to make me a perception check once again.
I would love to. If anyone knows what I was shouting out just there, well done.
Oh! Woo!
Hey, alrighty, okay. Do we have another one? No?
Not a good one. Yeah.
I love the fact that you've got the best perception out of all of us and you suck.
Lady Cluck does not have the luck.
Ashing, you want to make one too?
Yeah, I made one, 20.
Oh, okay, sorry. I saw the natural 20 and I was like, okay. Alrighty, so especially with that, you first, Sorrow, will see like these 2 little dark figures now that you kind of stopped for a moment. I've assumed you stopped or are you keeping walking?
No, I stopped and drew my rapier for sure.
Okay, so you see kind of like these 2 little brown things kind of rustling in the leaves up about 10 feet in front of you, but they're about 15 feet in the air in these trees. And you see just these like little brown things kind of moving in between, and all of a sudden they switch places and they
You
start.
hear Saru mutter under her breath, "This is why I always tell people to look up." Okay, how far away are they again?
They're 10 feet in front of you and 15 feet up. So they're about like 10 or 15 feet diagonally up in a direction from where you are now.
Okay. Can I use my divine sense?
Yeah. What is that? How does that work?
I can detect good and evil. Until the end of my next turn, I can sense anything affected by the Hallow spell or know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet that is not behind total cover. So really, I know where they are, but I'm trying to determine if they're fiends or undead, or celestials. I suppose. That seems less likely.
So you sense that they are of undead nature, but also slightly fiendish nature.
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
All right, I got a beat on one. You just say the word, and I'm ready to loose.
And you hear in these moments, now that you're kind of paying attention and honing in with your divine sense, you hear them kind of like bickering in some sort of tones to one another. Like you just kind of, he's like,
proper language, or is it just
you can't discern at the moment. You just hear them in what sounds like bickering tones.
okay? Well, Hesting, they are definitely fiends, possibly undead, possibly both.
How do you know all that?
That's sort of what I do.
You know if they're tasty?
No, not what I do. That's what you do.
What do I shoot it or not? My arm's getting tired.
I look over at Lady Cluckington. Shoot.
Lady Cluckington will like flutter up and draw her bow with her feet, with her talons, and aim it on the other one.
Nice. I'll move a little bit closer to the tree. I don't want to get close enough to disturb them, but I am not a ranged attacker, so I'll just get close enough that I can move in once things go south.
Okay. So as you all kind of like are in your preparedness states, out of nowhere you hear like a thud, you hear like a whoosh, and then one kind of goes ah! And falls and thuds on the ground about 5 feet now in front of where Sorrow is like standing, and like is on its back and lays, and you see it's this little creature that looks like it's comprised of like decaying bits of vegetation and mud and like some of the gross bits of like the ground that you're stepping on. And you see it have wings and this long sort of like pointy nose and pointy ears, and it's a small creature. It, like could fit in both of the palms of your hands. It's this tiny little sprite looking thing, and it kind of sets itself up and kind of just like rubs its head and like realizes, like sees your feet and looks directly up and just goes ah, and like starts to try to flap its wings but can't seem to do it because it's in this like shocked state, and looks directly.
Can I shoot the one that stood in the tree?
You don't know exactly where it is. If you want to try and attack it, you'd have a roll with disadvantage, but yeah, you can try to shoot up into the tree.
All right, well, it hasn't taken a turn in combat yet, right?
No, there's no combat yet. It just kind of like, you see it thud and like stand up and look directly.
Do you mean to like make like a perception check, or?
Yeah, if you want to make a perception check to see if you can spot where the other one is.
Damn it, I can't see it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you can kind of see some like leaves rustling in some sort of specific area, but as soon as you kind of hone in to stare, you see leaves rustling in another area. You kind of move your eyes a bit, and you can't really know exactly where it is, but you see the little one still standing there.
I'm waiting for Sorrow. She's got a rapier drawn.
Well, yeah, so the one that's in front of me, can I, like, I don't necessarily want to touch it, because that doesn't, well, okay, I have my gloves back on. Never mind. That's fine.
Terrorized. Like, it's like waiting for you to do something because it has the mentality of like, if I stand still, it won't see me and it'll go away.
So I'm the T-Rex in this scenario. I want to try to reach out and grab it.
Okay, are you trying to like grab it like grapple attack, or like just touch it to make sure it's okay? Like
no, I'm trying to grapple it. I don't want it to get away because I want to know what it is.
You can make a grapple attempt.
Do you want me to roll dex to grab hold of it, or do you want?
Yeah. Roll a dex.
Okay. Just raw dex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great track choice, right?
Cannot. There we go. There we go.
Oh, perfect. As soon as you like go to jerk to grab it, it just like screams again and freezes and like tries to back up and flap its wings at you and like talon its way away, and you just kind of like, it's so small that you literally just like go up and grab it around its waist and just like hoist it up in the air, and it's just like kind of wriggling and flapping its wings and having this like little fit in your hands, and you just hear it scream, "Oh no, not me, grab him," and he just keeps like kind of like pointing upwards and like looks up for a second. It says, "Oh, come on, you gotta help me get out of this."
I look at it and I just say, shh, 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 shh.
Oh.
Who are you?
Oh, well, my name is Memly, and that's my friend Gregor, and we've been following you for a bit, and he pushed me out of the tree. It just didn't work the right way.
And why were you following us?
Well, you don't see very many people in this part of the swamp, and normally when you do, it's for something exciting, and you always got trinkets, and we love trinkets.
So you're here to steal from us?
Not steal. We'd never steal. No, just borrowing. We just like to borrow.
You look tasty.
No. You just see it like in your hand, still like, now it's like super cowering away from where Hashing is.
Hashing, I don't think you want to eat it.
I mean, I think it's up to me to decide what I want, but I'll wait if you want.
It's undead. Do you really want to put that in your body?
Nutrients is nutrients. You get worms and things in undead, you know. Lots of minerals.
Do you live here?
Yes.
Not you. Gestures with the bow to the Memly.
Oh yeah, well we live here. Well we did live here, and then we died, and now we're back here. So I'm not really sure how that happened, but we're here, and we're just trying to make the best of it. Sometimes we hear some voices in our heads, and it's a little weird, and the lady really isn't nice, but she tells us to do things, and she told us to follow you, and now we're here, and I'm so sorry, just don't kill us.
Who's
and
the
now,
lady?
I was gonna say, now you see the other one is kind of like hung down from a branch, swinging slightly, and kind of like just waiting and chilling out. You do see the other one now that he was telling you about.
Welcome in, Raiders. Thank you very much. Open for adventure for that raid. We are playing a one-shot today. It's Ray's first time DMing on the channel. He's doing great.
Who's the lady that talks to you?
How can we kill you if you're dead?
Don't ask me that. I don't know how these things work. But I don't know. She's old and she's not nice, but when we woke back up after we thought we died, she was there and she told us to do the things that, you know, she asked of us, and if we did, everything would be fine. And we've just been trying to do that ever since.
What's her name?
I don't know. She's just real ugly looking. She lives real deep in the forest. I don't know much more than that. We kind of ran away as soon as she told us what to do.
How far are you supposed to follow us?
I didn't really have a destination. I was just supposed to tell her what y'all were doing here once we figured that out, but we didn't figure that out. We were trying to. We were really trying to.
Looks at the rest of the people. We're looking for new swamp recipes to eat.
Sarah rolls her eyes again, but again, not visible.
I'm gonna do a grin at these little creatures that only a gator can do. Lots of teeth.
It is terrified. It is terrified at the moment. And now you see the one that is named Grigor kind of swoop down and sit on the shoulder of Sorrow, and it kind of perches and like looks at you and looks at its friend, and like all of a sudden like bangs its fist on the head of the other one and goes, "You need to be quiet." And like it turns to look at Sorrow and just like tries to like look at you in your eyes, but it's like the weirdest angle ever, so it's kind of like perched and like looking up at you. And he's just like, "There's a hag. The hag told us what to do. Obviously we didn't do it right. So if you could just either give us something to appease the old lady so we can leave, or if you want to fight, we can fight. We can put up a dukes, but just let us be on our way. The old lady's not real nice when she doesn't get what she wants."
Well, the good lady Cluckington has already told you what we're here for, so take that back to your hag mistress, I suppose, and don't follow us again, because if we catch you again, it will not go as well for you.
All right, well, hopefully we'll do a better job of being stealthy next time. And once again, it like bangs its fist on the head of the other one. And the other one goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry."
Lady
Hey, don't you go
Cluckington-
apologizing. You're just trying to pass a good time. You live your best life.
Lady Cluckington will clip a button off of her clothes and hand it to the little clasped one.
The one I have in my hand.
Yeah.
Like a normal plastic button, is it a metal button? What kind of button is it?
It's very nicely made. Like under the armor, Lady Cluckington is clearly wearing courtly clothes, but they are like not kempt. So like the buttons and stuff and the fastenings are still nice, but really raggedy. Just thinking it might be a trinket that they could either take back or enjoy.
Cool. So the one that's clasped in Sorrow's hands will take it and kind of palm it together as such and hold it to its face and say, "Oh, thank you so much for the trinket. Oh, thank you so much." And starts like rubbing its hand on the trinket. It's like kind of creepy looking, very like soul-esque. And the other one kind of turns to look at Sorrow, that was looking at Sorrow, turns to look at you now, Lady Cluckington, and says, "Oh, thank you. We appreciate your patronage. Now we can just go on with our days. If you don't mind unpawing, my friend, we will be on our way and hopefully not in your hair much longer."
I will loosen my grip on the one I have so it can fly away.
So it, before it kind of flaps, it kind of like plops down on the ground real quick and kind of ruffles itself real quick. You see these splatters of mud start going everywhere as it kind of like rights itself, and the one that was on your shoulder props down to kind of grab it as it now then flies off, and you see them kind of like, once they get into a branch, you see them kind of like almost orangutan, like monkey style, start running through the trees, and you hear them kind of run and scatter off.
We follow or just let him go?
Well, we're supposed to go to this temple, right?
Yeah, we're
Lady.
supposed to go to this temple, but and we also supposed to be looking out for new things in the swamp. I ain't never heard of no hagstress before.
I think we should do what we came here to do. At least to start. We can try to deal with a hag after if...
I've heard that it's never just one hag.
That's what I'm worried about as well.
Lady Cluckington is content to continue on.
Perfect. Alrighty, so as y'all continue on, you will now see, as you continue forward, it'll take you about another 5 or 10 minutes. It'll take you another 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll follow the same path. It's not too crazy this time, so it won't require a survival check, but you do kind of now, as you are traversing along, you continue on the path, and you'll notice now, if you're staring at the ground, that the distance between the light and the mushrooms and the growth of the mushrooms starts to become more sporadic and spread out. As you approach, you'll all notice that you're now in a clearing, and the moist sunken earth has now turned to stone. Before you lays a ruin abandoned, left to be devoured by the world around it. You can't gather any exacts by the state of which it's in, but you can assume it's been centuries since it's last been properly lived in or tended to. Vines limply hang from scattered brush and toppled stone pillars that encircle the clearing, and straight ahead of you is what was once, you imagine, a large and ornate temple door, now intimately molded with an entire willow tree that has grown right in the middle of it. It clings and marries itself to the stone as it crawls high above the ruined walls. It's fair to say that before this day, you didn't think any of this was possible, and especially to a tree to grow in such a manner, yet here it stands. So you all walk in, and around you now it's almost kind of very gradiently and beautifully turned from this mold, this sunken earth and like kind of wet vegetation to this stone. And you'll walk on this stone, and around you there's 3 pillars to the left that encircle the left side of this clearing, and 3 pillars to the right, all in various states of disarray and vegetation grown in moss, covered in vines. Everything in this area almost looks like a cocoon of vegetation. Like, even as you look up, you've all kind of noticed as you've gone deeper and deeper into this part of the swamp that it's been closing in and closing in and closing in to the point of the roots and the vegetation grow over each other and almost create a canopy with some only dim spots of light that shine through now. And in front of you is this very large wall. What you assume was a temple wall of some kind, even though there's like parts of the brick missing here and there, and there's vegetation that's grown all into the cracks and crevices. And in the middle, where this door used to be, there is still a door now. It's very, very large and like rounded at the top. However, there is a willow tree that has grown in the wall, and you're not sure how it's done that, but it's grown in the wall, and you see the root system grow outwards and in between all of the structures inside of the wall. And it's a very creepy but very beautiful sight. What are you all doing?
Can I roll a perception to listen for non-vegetative alive things?
Yeah.
So perceptive.
Perfect. Okay, that's enough. So you'll kind of get, like, you'll hear some natural, obviously, like chirps of crickets and like brushing of like the leaves here and there by some sort of bird or some sort of tree-dwelling animal, like small creature that's running in between to grow. But there's nothing that you discern that is unnatural or something that should cause any sort of worry at this moment. If anybody else wants to do any sort of investigation or perception checks as they're looking around the clearing, by all means. What's everybody else doing?
I found a creature in the swamp. So did you. Hey.
Can I also roll a history to see if I can tell what type of race or culture might have made this?
Yeah.
Does it look like it was a temple at one point? Is that something I can...
Oh yeah, you can definitely discern that it is of temple-esque, like, stature. The construction of it is very large, in that sense. It's very obvious. With a 14 history, you do discern that it was indeed a temple of some type. as you kind of go around, I will say with that perception check, you're kind of going around the walls and kind of looking around and moving vegetation off to see if there's any carvings. And at one point, Lady Cluckington, you do kind of sweep aside some brush, and you do see that there is a symbol carved right into, like, very large. It's probably, about 8 feet wide, about 4 or 5 feet tall in the side of this part of the door. There is a symbol of a skeletal hand holding up a scale carved into one of the boldest parts of this wall.
Is this a religious symbol, and do I recognize it?
If you want to roll me a religion.
Sure.
Oh yeah. So you immediately discern that this is the symbol for the deity Kelimvor, and that this was once a temple constructed for him, for his worship and for his dominion over this area. You kind of, with the arcane message from Lady Eleva, and now kind of her helping you get to this point, you have kind of assumed up until this point, her being divine touched, that this is the deity that she serves, and this is the temple into which she takes care of and serves him in. As such, you do realize with that role as well that Kelimvor has promoted that death is a natural part of life and should not be feared as long as it is understood, and as a result of his deep respect for life and death, he has held the undead in the uttermost contempt. So that kind of like strikes you, and you're like, okay, this is all starting to make a little bit more sense now.
I'll just point to the symbol and say, that's the symbol of Kelimvor. It's a god of death, but not death in a evil sense, I suppose. More of a death balances life kind of sense.
Yeah, that sounds like the swamp, all right. Maybe that's the one that touched Eleva.
That seems like a good guess, considering this is, I suppose, their temple.
As she says that, Hashing, you do kind of catch that. You're like, oh, that's the temple. That's the lady. Okay, now I remember her. I know who she is. That's her temple.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I remember. He gave her the touch of death. Yeah.
Does it say anywhere how to open it, or can you pray to kind of glean information?
Are we like?
You see, the door's open. By the way, like it's like a temple door. It just goes right in, but it goes into darkness. Like you can't see anything.
I thought the tree. I was visioning the tree like in the door. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, how do you open the door?
In the middle of the tree. So imagine this extremely large tree, and then right in the middle of the stump is the door that you can go into. It's like growing around it.
Is it, when you say it's dark, so I have dark vision out to 60 feet, is it dark even to my dark vision?
Oh no, like if you have dark vision, yeah, you can see in 60 feet, and you see a hallway with it goes all the way down to a room, and you see kind of like an entrance to the left and an entrance to the right about 10 feet into the hallway. But that's all you see. Nothing crazy. There's no like ornate decorations. It's all kind of very simple stone structures that you can see down this hallway. The hallway is about 50 feet long.
Looks like there's a couple of hallway doors, maybe chambers of some kind back there. Do you want to go take a look?
Oh yeah, I do. I don't think I've explored this part of the swamp very well.
What's the water level like? Are we on dry land? Is it watery?
Yeah, you're on dry land now. It's turned to stone, and now you're on it's all stone underneath you right now. So if you step off of it, like back into the vegetation and the brush that's kind of overgrown it over time, it'll be back to that boggy, swampy, rough terrain. But right now you're in normal terrain. It's easy walking, nothing crazy.
Should we announce ourselves? We were invited.
I mean, we're not trying to sneak up on anyone here, so I don't see why that would be a problem.
I mean, death waits on no man. They probably already know. Busy food.
Well, there's no harm in us saying something. and I'll turn, like, before going down this hallway, I'll just say, "Hello? Lady Eleva?"
And as you say that, are you looking down the hallway when you say that?
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll see, like, you kind of see some shuffling back in that back room. You can kind of tell with your dark vision, but really can't see much. But you do see, like, out of nowhere, that apparition of that silvery tendril come back and kind of wisp itself in front of your face, and it goes around your head and kind of, like, makes itself feel very comfortable in your presence and kind of wafts back in and disappears. There's no words, there's no noise, but you do get the sense that she's aware of your presence here.
I think we're good. I think we should go in.
Yeah, drop down to all fours and start sniffing. It looks very natural. I look very comfortable on all fours, like a pelican.
All right.
Do you wear like pouches and stuff? If you're naked, how do you?
I've got a Hessian sack strapped across my back.
Perfect.
All right.
I definitely didn't just make that up on the spot.
I will go ahead and walk in, and I don't know if the two of you have dark vision, so I'll offer a hand if any, or like someone can put a hand on my shoulder if they want, if we don't have a torch or anything.
I can see just fine.
Perfect.
Yeah, me too.
All right. So as Sarah walks in and you both are following her, as you traverse down this hallway, you'll kind of see as you're walking past, the room to the left is nothing special. It has a couple tables, a couple chairs. It's fairly empty. The room to the right has like some pottery, some large vases. Once again, nothing crazy, nothing ornate or special looking. So you'll traverse all the way down into the back room. And when you enter and open, it is then kind of lit in a way that you didn't expect it to be. It kind of like gets dim before it gets light. And there's two sconces in the back wall. In between them, there is a throne sitting there with a very elegant woman sitting in the throne. There's a pedestal in the center of the room. And around it is once again the three pillars on one side, the three pillars on the other. And the ceiling that was once there is now kind of partially there, but where you see the cracks of light, some vines are starting to grow in and some vegetation has started to make its way into the overtopping canopy of the room. So it's starting to have that ivory growing on the walls, and it has this very like earthy smell and very like soft yellow tone of light in the room. And you'll see this elegant woman sitting at the throne, and she gets up and she's tall. She's about 6'1", 6'2". She's very tall, very, very dark skin. And you see her have these very long and elegant elf ears and hair down to her waist that is in tight braids. And she stands up and kind of walks in front of the pedestal and is now standing between you and the pedestal, so you all have come into the room. And she stands there and she goes, "Well, you must be the adventurers I called for. Are you not?"
Just before we get into this room, although Hestring has been knocking into things and all sorts in the dark, as we enter the light, he'd obviously get a little more comfortable with the light again. I'd like to think that Lady Cluckington just feels a slight pinch from her tail, and when Hestring enters the light, there's now a large feather as part of his headdress.
I was just going to clear that up, so I love that you did that.
Lady Cluckington like begins to introduce herself and then like looks over and Lady Cluckington the third, former lady. Is that my tail feather?
Not anymore. You know me. How you doing, lady?
Oh, hello there, Xing. Yes, I do know you. So you've brought me my adventurers.
Yeah, I bought them. That's how that worked.
Well, it's just very nice to meet you. And she'll kind of do like a very soft curtsy to you, Lady Cluckington. And she goes, well, I'm Lady Eleva, and this is, and she'll kind of gesture to you, Sorrow.
Sorrow Emberstrike. A pleasure.
The Paladin. It is very nice to meet you. And she'll curtsy again. And she goes, well, I cannot begin to tell you how fortunate I am that you all are standing before me. And thank you, Hashing, once again to wrangle them up for me. It's been quite a time here. I thank Kalimvor Millennium Over for all of you participating in this with me. There's a tragedy I must tell you that you are to be aware of, but first let me explain who I am and why you're all here. I am obviously Lady Eleva, but I am the last of the death clergy of Kalimvor. My people have resided in the region for centuries, and even after most have moved on to follow the gods of the New Age and left the city to ruin. I refused to leave along with the other clergy members, and have such been given the task by my mighty savior to be the keeper of the clergy member before me that has resided over the Bogsmire. All that remains is their skull, which is meant to stay on top of the pedestal here. And she'll gesture to the pedestal that's in front of you. Not long ago it was stolen, and you see in the right hands the remains of a past member of the death clergy can be utilized for a more prominent magic. As another member, I can use that enhancement to protect my people and the threats of the undead. But without it, I can't keep the barrier up over Bogsmire and continue to do the good work of Kalimvor. You see where that poses a problem for me. So, the name of the problem is Aura Angla. She's an evil hag, the Lone Wretch. She's been residing in the Smire on and off for years and has always caused some sort of issue. Started with smaller instances like stealing knickknacks and causing mischief like a child, but it's been progressing lately into instances of true necromancy and reviving dead animals and other things and creatures she finds near her shack. She can start to revive other things in larger quantities with the skull and enhance her arcane magic for evil instead of good, like I do. She could devour the town eventually with her army and could kill off any potential lineage of the death clergy. Something that I just cannot have, you see, as one of the only remaining members. So yeah, I need you to go and basically retrieve that skull for me, because I cannot leave for threat of attack. I hope that is something that you all can do for me. I hope that's not too taxing of a request.
Not for me. Do you know where the hag is?
Unfortunately, she likes to move every time she comes and goes, so I'm not quite sure where her hag house is now. However, I have been working with a group of men known as the Shaman of the Smire. They're well versed in understanding these natures and can permanently help you take care of her. Like I said, I fear that if I leave to embark on this journey with you all, that my town and my place here will be left unprotected. And for that, I can't leave. But I do know how to get you to the shaman and hopefully more help in actually dealing with the problem.
Seems like a good place to start. And I look back at Heshing and I say, maybe we should have followed those little creatures.
Hey, I didn't want to say I told you so.
Well, perhaps we'll encounter them again.
Maybe, yeah, maybe.
She kind of like curiously eyes you at that statement, but doesn't press further. And she just goes on and she kind of like puts her hands on the pedestal and looks a little bit drained. You see like this tall, elegant woman have a moment of just like internal struggle. And she says, oh, she shakes it. She comes back to and she says, the shamans are known to congregate around Lily Pad Burn. It's a area of sunken water and covered in lily pads. It's quite honest for the name, but it's east of where we are currently. You'll definitely know it once you come upon it, but if I can give you any sort of advice, don't step on the lily pads. The shaman, they're sacred to the shaman, and they kind of go crazy. But go out here and follow due east, and you will find them, and they in turn will be able to help you further in this endeavor. I'm just merely the person to get you all together, really. And with that, she'll kind of just like take a deep breath. And you see, and like now that she's in some sort of light, some better light that she's kind of walked up to you all, you do see now that her eyes are milky white. You assume that she's blind of some sort, but in that moment you see her milky white eyes kind of flash with this light blue energy, and you see her mutter some words, and then they fade back and she comes to and she says, I've just alerted the shaman and let them know that you will be on the way soon and to be expecting you. Once you get to the burn, it is a little bit of a convoluted doorway. I haven't been there in quite some time, but the shaman will be expecting you, so hopefully it won't take you too long to figure it out.
Thank you, Lady Oliver. If there's nothing else, my compatriots don't have any other questions, then I think we can be off and try to get this, recover this skull for you and put an end to the necromancy.
I would certainly appreciate that. It's just more of a precaution than anything else. She hasn't seemed to revive too much that is of too much danger, but I'd rather squash the bug while it's still a small one, if you get my drift.
Oh, absolutely. You can never be too careful where the undead are concerned.
Exactly. I'm so thankful that you understand. But of course, if you have any other questions, please do try to contact me. But you are more than welcome to head off.
Lady Clockington, is there anything else you wish to ask?
Lady Cluckington is very distracted by this feather that is now hanging from her compatriot's feather headdress and kind of snaps back over. No. Do you have any items or words of advice for the undead? I've not faced them before.
Oh, well, the only word of advice I have for the undead is to avoid them at all costs. Be careful. Where one dwells, many dwell. They don't come by the lonesome very often, so keep your eyes out and be wary. Like I said, if you see one, be prepared for more.
Ready.
Perfect. And unless Heshing has some last minute questions or any sort of things he would like to ask Lady Eleva, you all can be on your way and make your way out of the temple in which the way you came. Heshing, did you have any last minute questions or anything you wanted to ask Lady Eleva before y'all decided to leave?
No, I'm good. We just gotta find the thing and stop her doing things.
Pretty much. Awesome. So as you all traverse out, can somebody make me a survival check just to see if you can figure out which way is due east from your location? Basically east in the direction of where you are actually, but just to double check.
I rolled one. It's an 18.
Perfect. That is good enough. You find exactly the east direction that you are looking for once you kind of get turned around and come out this door. And you take off now. And it doesn't take too long. It's not terribly difficult. You see that this part of the path seems to be a little bit more worn, ironically. And it is still part of that stoneness. It doesn't start to get into that mushy, swampy bog vegetation sort of like walkway until like maybe towards the last 5 or 10 minutes of your walk. And once you do, like, you start to see that the path starts to go in a direction where it fades outwards. And when it fades outwards, it just turns exactly into water. As you approach what you believe is the lily pad burn, because now you are seeing all of these lily pads start to pile up as it turns now to water. You see that it transfers itself from this waterlogged vegetation to just this beautiful, serene. Moving forward, larger stones replace your path. So instead of like the brush, it is now these giant kind of stepping stones in between all of these lily pads that you see. And there's so many of them that if you were not careful, you would just step directly on them and fall into the water. Some of these rocks are the size of like small boulders, while others are the size of dinner plates. And a plethora of mossy rocks line a path towards one wooden bridge about 50 feet away on the other side of this pond. The entire surface of the water is covered in lily pads, as I said, and it's almost surreal compared to the environments that you've traversed through so far. The stark contrast makes you feel a sense of comfort, although the feeling is still not quite right. Oh, did we lose someone?
Yeah, it looks like we lost to Holly. Hopefully she'll be right back in. There she is.
Yeah.
I'm blaming Sheba.
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie.
So once you kind of arrive, like I said, it goes from earthen kind of vegetation to now water. So you are kind of standing at the cusp of this. And what comes before you is a bunch of rocks, and 50 feet across this pond is a bridge.
And it looks like the entire surface is covered in lily pads.
Yeah. So like you'll see the every so often you'll see the one that have the flowers, the pink and white flowers. And in between there you'll see like a dragonfly flying around or a little frog hopping from one to another. But even in this serene beauty that encapsulates this one area, you do notice that there is not a lot of outside like plant life or outside animal life in this area. It is just very much this pond and the lily pads. It's everything else kind of seems to get muted out in a way.
And the lily pads, does it look like, no, not the lily pads, sorry, if the stepping stones, does it look like they're leading up to the bridge, or like is it on the same level?
Yeah, like it's just right across the water. They're all over the water, to be fair, but you can see ones that you could take that make a direct path to the bridge.
Well, we were told to avoid the lily pads.
Yeah. It's a shame, though. I could use a swim. I'm getting all dry.
They just said not to stand on them. I guess if you wanted to swim under them, that was not expressly forbidden.
I can't see a gap.
And I hope you don't mind. I'm gonna alter my water skin a little bit, so I'm gonna pull my water skin out of my Hessian sack, and it's got a little like squirt nozzle on it, and I'm just gonna like spray it over myself a little bit.
Yeah.
Just give yourself a spritz.
I love it.
Does it look like I can fly over this?
Oh yeah, like if you wanted to try and fly over it, you can fly over it. If you wanted to try and walk across it, you can walk across it. By whichever means necessary, you are more than welcome to attempt to get across. If you do want to fly, it will be a dexterity check just to make sure that you can traverse it correctly. Or if you had some crazy acrobatics or athletics you wanted to justify for it too, by all means. If not, just a straight dexterity.
Yeah, I just rolled. I'm gonna use one of my advantages to roll. Or my advantage, I guess, because I don't want to fall on these.
Oh, perfect. So you would like grace and this extra charisma has just made you so elegant in the air, and you very quickly kind of flap your wings and glide across this 50 feet, and you are now at this boulder, this very precariously large boulder that's in front of the bridge. You've successfully made it across.
I think she's just throwing off now, she. Oh yeah, let's go and try and I'm gonna show you something now, alright? Sorrow. I call it Gatorabatics.
And I'm gonna
I am watching with great interest.
I'm gonna try and use all 4 appendages to try and navigate across these things. And it's more like a gator style run than a fancy like not like cartwheels or anything.
I think it's like that lizard that actually can run across the surface of a water, because if you've ever
I was picturing the Avatar when the girls are chasing and they have those crazy lizards.
Okay. Make me an athletics check. Or are you trying to go acrobatics with the Gatorbatics?
I would prefer acrobatics.
Perfect. Let's do it. Beautiful. And with that, you kind of like, you go so fast that you like hop, like you're running, but then when you get to like that hop that you need to do to the next like boulder or rock, like you kind of like almost like run on air. It's like very precariously cartoony looking. Like you just kind of like waddle across the entire thing and kind of scurry up to exactly where Lady Cluckington is now sitting, and you have successfully got across the pond with all the lily pads. So now it is Sorrow standing on the other side by her lonesome.
How far away is the bridge and the
50 feet.
What, 50 feet?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Never mind then. So Sorrow will sheath my rapier and then rub my hands together a little bit, and then I'm just gonna try to hop across on the stepping stones.
Okay, so make me 2 separate, if you want to reason out acrobatics or athletics with me, tell me something cool that you do, you can use one of them, or just make a straight dexterity roll, and I'll need you to do 2 checks.
I will just do straight dex because I am not proficient in acrobatics or athletics.
No. Are you, as a paladin, wearing like hefty armor? Are you clanking everywhere like a true paladin?
I'm clanking a little bit. I am wearing chainmail, so
Okay,
a
so
little bit. Yeah.
Okay. No worries.
Not a ton of clank, but a little enough clank that I do have disadvantage on stealth checks.
Clinks. Clinks, not clanks.
Yeah. All right, so 10, which is not great, and 13, which is not a whole lot better.
Okay, no problem. It's still just enough to get you. You will slip and dip one of your feet into the boggy, swampy water, and it is like you just got the number that it took to not hit one of the lily pads. So you didn't hit any lily pads, you didn't destroy any lily pads, so luckily that's good, but you did slip into the water, and now your foot is like really soaking wet, and it's not like it wasn't already, but now it's like obnoxiously soaking wet.
Yeah, when I make it over to the last spot, you can just see me shaking my boot like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a nuisance. But you do successfully make it across as well, and you all are standing on the boulder before the bridge.
Do we see any shaman around?
No, if you want to make a perception check, I can tell you what you see.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to just take a look around and see if we see these. 18.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely. As you're all standing on this this large boulder that's in the water, and immediately in front of you is a bridge. The bridge is about 10 feet long. And as you look over the bridge, you see another area of like just beautiful pond. Like it's just like a separate little inlet pond. However, immediately after the bridge is a stone slab. It's about 20 feet wide and 10 feet long, and it stretches down and towards the water before tapering out and actually submerging into the water. So where you are, it's about here. The bridge is right here. And then there's another stone slab that eventually starts to dip into the water, about 10 feet going in.
Okay.
And in the water, about 10 feet into the water, so it stretches out, and 10 feet out from where the stone slab starts to taper, you see 5 prominent cypress tree stems rising out of the water. And that's all you can see at the moment.
We'll look back to the other two and say, should we announce ourselves again?
No, I don't like to be announced. Especially if we're planning on killing the hag, which I am.
Well, but we're not here to kill the hag. We're here to get help from the shaman.
Oh. Wait, what?
Lady Elva is here to get help from the shaman.
Maladale, thank you so much for the donation. An advantage to everyone, which brings us up to exactly 10% of today's goal. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I thought we were just gonna head straight over to the hag and, like, stab her.
Well, we would if we knew where she was, but we don't. So we're here to see if we can find out where she is.
You could just do like before and say hello.
That's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to just shout. Although, and I look back at the rocks, because I probably made a good bit of noise crossing the stepping stones. They probably know we're here.
Hey, are there any shaman out here looking to pass a good time? We need advice and instruction.
Looking for a hag, not because we want to be friends with her, though.
We want to stab a hag.
And so you don't hear anything in response. However, you do see some bubbles in the water, like in the middle of where the cypress trees are. You do see some bubbles in the water start to form, but not like fish bubbles, nothing crazy. It just catches your attention because it's the only thing you see moving in the water. Besides that, it's very still. There's no lily pads on this side of it.
Okay. Lady Elva sent us. She said she was letting you know we were coming.
Have you guys walked over the bridge and are on the slab at this point, or are you still on the opposite side of where?
We're still on the opposite side.
Okay.
I'll stop walking the bridge, though.
Yeah, I'll go with hishing.
Okay. So as you walk over the bridge and get into the stone slab, nothing changes, nothing's going on. It's very quiet, it's very peaceful, it's very beautiful. But you do see those 5 stumps, sort of like you see them glow. A certain place on the front of it, you see them all start to glow. How far are you all? Just at the beginning of the stone slab, or has anybody walked any further? It's about 10 feet until you hit the water.
I'll walk down like right to the water's edge.
Okay. With that, you'll be close enough. So it's about 2 feet as you get into the water. They're in front of you, so you can see the first couple stumps very distinctly, and you see these glowing symbols like burned into the side of the stump. And you see there's 5 of them. And from where you are looking directly, the one to your immediate left is an upside down triangle with a line through it. The one immediately to your right is a right side up triangle. The one to the right of that is a upside down triangle. The one all the way to the back in front of you is a circle. And the one finishing the circle is a right side up triangle with a line through it. And if you want to make me an Arcana check or a History check, I can tell if you know what they mean.
Sure.
Can I grab the descriptions again, please?
Yes. So in a circle, starting to the left is an upside down triangle with a line through it. The one past that to the left, so starting to complete the circle in a clockwise way, it's a right side up triangle with a line through it. The one in the back is a circle. The one to the right of it and coming down is an upside down triangle. And the one that finishes the circle to the right, directly of where Sorrow is a right side up triangle.
I got a 10 on my history check.
Okay. So you don't you're struggling a little bit. You know that they're symbols for some sort of arcane knowledge, but you aren't quite sure of exactly the symbols and their meanings, but you do know that they have some sort of arcane history, that they are derived from an old magic.
I'll try to roll some Arcana after learning that.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
What do my bird eyes see?
So as Sorrow is kind of touching them and muttering under her breath, she's like, "Oh, they're arcane, they're magic." It clicks in your head, Lady Cluckington, from all of your lady days and studying and all of that, that these are the symbols in old magic for the 5 elements. The one, the left, going around in a clockwise circle is earth. So the upside down with a line through it is earth. The one above it is air. The one in the back is spirit. The one to the right and coming down is water. And the one finishing the circle to the right of Sorrow is fire. And I will say, as you are kind of going up to them, you'll see they're not tall. Like out of the water, they're like 2 feet tall. So out, you'll see them burned, like the rune symbols are like burned in and they're glowing. And then on the tops of the stumps are like little holes. And they're glowing like an orange color at the moment. So you have the symbols for earth, air, spirit, water, and fire.
I'll relay the information.
Lady Cluckington, do you think we need to put something on these?
It does look like they have holes for a reason.
I'm gonna go and spray bottle the water.
Okay. You'll see if you're spraying the top of it, and if you, as soon as it starts to fill a little puddle, you'll see the symbol glow from an orange to a blue.
I did something. Change, now it's blue. Looks good to me.
I'll go up to the air one and just blow on it.
Okay. Can you give me a strength check for that?
Lord. Yeah, I'm a Dex Paladin. This will be good. 12.
Exodin.
Okay, so it takes you a second. By the end of your breath, you are in labored breathing. It is a little you stress yourself out to get enough air to fill up this chamber. But you do, and you see that symbol also does glow a blue color now.
I'm gonna cram some swamp dirt into the earth one.
Alrighty, and you will also see that one now is glowing blue. You have fire and spirit left.
Lady Cluckington, I don't know if this is insensitive, but if you sit on things, can't you warm them up?
Roosts.
I'm cold-blooded. It won't work if I try it.
Only 6 years old, so this might not work.
Are you sitting on it? Are you?
Oh yeah, I'm roosting on it.
It takes you a minute, but you generate enough heat with your bottom as being a chicken. You gather enough heat to not quite start a fire per se, but you gather enough heat. The symbol to go from orange to blue.
That was a great plan you hatched there.
Oh.
Oh.
I have an idea for the spirit one. I'm gonna go up to it and just expend 1 point of my lay on hands ability.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. So as you do lay on hands, you see this kind of like yellow, whitish, arcane glow go from your hands into the circle, and you watch it kind of fill and pulse for a second before it dies out, and that pulse was just enough to turn it from orange into blue. And now, as you have filled all of these cypress stems with the appropriate offerings, the water starts to shake. And as you're now standing back up on like the incline, you see this platform start to rise out of the water, and with it, the 5 tree stumps that you had just sort of put your offerings in rise with it as well. And you see that they are situated.
Does Lady Cluckington rise too?
She's right. If she didn't get up, she's rising. Oh yeah, like you're just sitting on the good.
My roost now.
And so now it is raised above the water. So now that the incline is now just a straight platform, and out of this platform, you see this circular, like right in the middle of all these stumps, you see this circular tube start to rise out of it. And it's covered in water, and you see the water kind of splash off, and like everything kind of like, you know, waterfall over the edge very beautifully. And out from this little arcane doorway that you apparently have unlocked steps this very large looming creature. And Lady Cluckington, you will be very, very close to him as he comes out of the doorway, sitting on top of the cypress stump. You're about 5 feet in the air now, because the stumps really aren't too tall, but you're about 5 feet in the air, sitting and looming over this creature. And you will see first that he looks interesting. Like, you have never seen something like this before. You think it's a mix between an alligator and a snake. You see this like very snake-like maw. It's very like rounded and long and just very creepy looking as it pokes out from the top of this clothing mound, you assume that it is enshrouded in. And it's holding this giant staff that kind of looms outward in an L shape and has this large, what you assume is a cocoon that has this bright yellow light glowing and kind of swaying back and forth. And he's about 6 feet tall. He has a giant lily pad that is like on top of his head as a hat, but it looms over his face, so you can't see too much of it. You can just see like the kind of snake-like maw underneath and like a very long neck. And then you see he's dressed in this crazy amount of vegetation that has molded itself to look like clothing. You see like plants and roots and sticks kind of hanging every which way, but it kind of looks like it's made into a material that drapes over his body very carelessly. And you see he's got these long kind of claw shapes with long fingernails and a tail that looks very much like an alligator's tail, and that brings you to question of what is this thing? And it stops as it comes out of the doorway and looks up at Lady Cluckington and just kind of extends a finger in a pointed way and just says, "Could you get down there, lass?"
Can I roll an intimidate check for him to get away from my new nest?
Yeah.
Yes. And then I just sort of like flat myself into a frenzy and kind of tumble off of it.
All right. So as you kind of off and plump down on the stone floor, he kind of like looks down at you and kind of knocks you with his staff. Like the cocoon kind of swings into your face and knocks your nose, and he goes, "It's not quite polite to sit in places that aren't meant for sitting." And he just like kind of like looks back up and looks at both of you and holds out his staff, and he's just like, "So you guys are the ones that have been sent for me, eh?"
Bon ton roulé, friend. We had to find the hag.
Lady Elva sent us.
Yes, she did. Now follow me. I have something for you. And you just watch him disappear into the arcane door.
Well, he said follow him, in we go.
After you, Hesting.
In I go.
You all like poof into this arcane door and come out on the other side, and you are just in an office room. You're not quite sure if this is the only room that is associated with this door or not, but you do come into a room and he waddles over, like he walks kind of like shuffling, but it's very slow and labored. He comes to his desk and he takes out this box and puts the box on the desk and sits behind it and beckons you all to come over as he opens the box. And In the box, you'll see this very beautiful, ornate blade. It has a handle of ivory and silver and inscriptions and runes in the blade made of silver itself. It's very beautiful. It's a normal dagger size, but the blade is a little bit longer than usual. And he sits there and he goes, "All right, adventurers, I assume you're here because of Lady Eleva, and I'm already under the assumption that that is correct. She has sent you to me to vanquish this foe. You see, this wretch, as we have figured out, Aura Angla, is in possession of Velsharoon. She has given her soul to him in order to become an all-powerful in her necromancy magics. For Velsharoon is the archmage of necromancy and rules over his divine realm called Death's Embrace. For he welcomes all that want to practice his evil, perverted ways. He has purposely sent her here in order to destroy the last true temple of Kalimvor and the way of life that Lady Eleva has spent centuries trying to defend and revive. Slowly but surely, she has sent an undead plague upon Bogsmire, although her realm-given powers have not been enough. So she has stolen the skull of the last death clergyman in order to enhance her ability and enhance Velsharoon's hold on her, and rise above the divine power that Lady Eleva has protected her people with for so long. This, and he gestures to the blade, is Kalimvor's ivory blade. We have kept it safe in this temple for centuries at the hand that Lady Eleva has entrusted us with it, just in case there ever was a time where the protection of the Smire had been compromised. You've all been chosen by her to specifically carry this out, and I assume that now beckons this time for this great weapon to be used. So here, I entrust it to any one of you that decide to use it, for I think it might be the only way to truly destroy this hag. And if somebody wants to take the blade, he is offering it up at this moment.
What kind of blade is it? Are we looking like a broadsword here, or does it look a little more elegant?
It's a dagger. It's considered a dagger.
But Lady Cluckington, sorrow. My name means water death. If I get the drop on someone, I can do a lot of damage in a very short amount of time.
I can, but only from a range, so I have no interest in this.
Hesting, if you wish to take it, this is your home, not mine.
Alright. So he offers it up to Heshing. If you would like to take it, I'm sending you the stats for this blade.
Ooh. Oh
Very-
my. Oh my. Okay.
Yeah. It is a powerful one. It is considered a legendary item. So if you want to share with anybody what it is, or do you want to keep it and I can share it later?
I mean, Scrat knows what this thing does. I don't think that Hesting would. Hesting would just understand it's a big stabby. But
Okay.
if anyone wants to look at it, I'd let
As
them
soon as
look at
you
it.
hold it, you feel some sort of special power. Like it's not secret at all that once you hold this, you feel something from it.
I feel funky again, like with the plants.
And as you are holding it, the alligator hybrid folk will turn to you all and say, "My shaman of the Smire and I have been protecting this place for a very long time. And most of the time we do a good job of doing it on our own. However, this time it's a little bit too much. We entrust in you the ability to take care of this and this foe, but I do need to warn you, this hag is not meant to be dealt with lightly. You see, a hag carries a heartstone. It's a lustrous black gem that allows the hag to become ethereal and to live in this plane while it is in her possession. The touch of it cures any disease, and if you destroy it, it will take her life entirely. She will not be able to rebuild herself. You must destroy the Hearthstone, not just the body in which it lives. And I give this... What?
How do we destroy it?
You have to find where it is in her possession. Most hags keep it in different locations, but it is in their being. Their heart, their brain, their lungs, their gut. It is somewhere in their being, wherever they decide to keep it. You have to find it, seek it out in her, and destroy it. It's the only way to take care of her for good.
Can the dagger that you just gave to Hesching, is that capable of destroying it?
That and much more. That can help you with any sort of undead foe, but especially with her.
Well,
You will
good.
be protected in that plate. And he goes over and you see him kind of rummaging through, he has a cabinet and you see him rummaging through the cabinet and he brings out all these components for what look like a spell and kind of place them on the table. And he starts using this chalk and drawing in this chalk all over the floor and starts taking the things off the table and setting them in the circle. And anybody here who has practiced the arcane can see that he is using a transportation circle. And
before I forget, because Ray, your descriptions are brilliant, and I keep forgetting to like interrupt and do things.
sorry.
Phil's
Take a
Timmy
break.
Man, you have thank you so much for your resub. You have a new chat badge. Congratulations! Enjoy your scroll. You also have an advantage to give. Thank you very much for the subscription. Ray, you're doing a wonderful job. I am absolutely enthralled.
Thanks. So he's making this transmutation circle and looks back at you before uttering some words and says, I'm giving you location to exactly where she is. It's taken us a while to find her, and this is the fastest way for you to get there without any sort of encumbrance. Jump in and you'll be transported to right outside of where her shack is. And there you'll be able to take care of it. It's the most direct way I can feel like I can help you. Are you ready? Are you prepared?
I draw my rapier.
Lady Cluckington will once again look at this feather and peck at one of Hesching's scales to see if there's a loose one that she can get off real fast.
Okay. Are you trying to do this like secretly, like he stole it from you?
Oh no.
Okay. Then oh boy, make an attack roll. Just make an attack roll and see how aggressively you grab at this scale.
Don't want it hurt.
Remember, we do all have advantages as well.
Yeah, that is true. I'm gonna give you an advantage for that because I like this little back and forth y'all got.
Okay, so second roll.
Okay, cool. That
Damn,
hits.
you're rolling awful today.
I know.
So,
I've had like 2 crits on like really basic things, like I saw across the pond.
how it always goes. But yeah, no, with that hits him. So you grab really quickly at one of the scales on the back, and one does come loose.
I'm gonna do that thing that birds do where they like stick it like a big feather in their head and then ready.
Perfect. Alrighty, so as he finishes this transmutation circle, you all kind of step into it and get instantly transported to this very, very dark and uncomfortably humid location. The air is stale, and the mist is thick and smells of decay. Even the plants around you seem to wither and die before your eyes. The colors are fading progressing as you move forward over the water in between each plank of wood on the walkway in front of you. If you're quiet enough, you can hear the burble of the water below, breathing every so often from whatever lives beneath. There is a humming to the air, a static electricity you can feel across your skin and tickle the air at the nape of your neck. Before you, about 15 feet ahead, stands a large, enormous, decaying and rotting willow tree, expansive and dripping in its weathered leaves on the surface of the water below. The path you were on reaches around the tree, butting up to it, to its girthy base, And beyond that, you can barely see the lights of a hut where Aura Angla is said to reside. Only one porch light in front of the door.
Stealth?
Yeah, I think still.
Is there
Okay.
water around? Sorry, I missed half the description.
It looks very much like the picture with the huts and the water walkway, but there is a walkway around a tree. So 15 feet in front of you, there's this massive, enormous dead willow tree that's kind of in the middle, and almost like the path was before, it goes left and right around it, but it comes to a centered location before it goes off in another direction. And in that direction, way, way far in the distance, you can see the roof of the shack.
Okay, I'm gonna slip into the water. I'll try and be real sneaky. Get her attention. But, try not to start a fight.
Okay. So as you slip into the water, give me that stealth roll.
I'm gonna use
Lady-
an advantage on this.
Okay, Lady Cluckington, you start off walking on this walkway, and you know exactly where to step and not to step to make any noise on these planks of wood, and start to make your way up to this dead tree and the fork that goes around it. And following behind you is Sorrow, who just can't seem to copy your movements to save her life and is clinging and clanking with that chainmail. And as you look up, Sorrow, you see in the tree a plethora of undead crows and ravens sitting there, their beady eyes staring at all of you and just kind of looking around. Half of them are decaying. Some of them don't have wings or have skeletal beaks and faces and bodies. They're not doing anything but staring and watching every movement that you all make. And definitely have noticed your presence with that low stealth roll. We're kind of acknowledging their presence and they are acknowledging yours. Heshing, you, like an alligator, dive into that water unseen and unheard. And you are
Silky.
kind of looking around, and it is murky, it is dirty, it is black, but you can still kind of see through it. Give me a perception check. Just to see what.
Yeah, sure. Could I possibly, because I'm looking for like a secret entrance to this hut or anything, could I possibly try and wheedle it into investigation?
Yeah. Oh yeah. If that's what you are specifically trying to do, then
I mean,
absolutely.
that's what I'm good at, you know. I like investigating.
Do I use an advantage on this as well? Yeah, why not? Let's see if I can. I want to find my way in there. Use another advantage. I'm really glad that paid off.
My roll 20 has kind of froze for a second, so just tell me what you got.
21.
Okay. So yeah, with that 21, you swim extremely fast up to kind of where the end of this water walkway is before you get to the hut, and you come out of the water very quickly and stealthily and kind of look around and look under the water and are trying to feel around the burn of whatever house it's on, to see if there's any sort of secret entranceway or tunnel into the house, and you are just not finding one. But as you're traversing and as you are now closer to the hut, you hear something like rustling very, very close behind you to the right, in between where you are and the tree is, about 10 feet behind you.
Just gonna slip back into the water so only my eyes are showing.
Okay. As you slip back into the water, you continue to hear the rustling, and out of the corner of your eye, do you see a shadow dart from one side to the other, from your right peripheral to your left peripheral.
Dart as in movement, right? I don't see a dart.
No. Yeah, dart is in movement. You just see a black shadow, a large looming black shadow move from left to right.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'm in stealth mode, so I'd like to warn my party, but that would give me away, so...
Yeah, you are successfully stealthed in the water right now.
Gonna stay right here with just my eyes showing.
I'm gonna use Divine Sense again.
Okay.
Just because I know that there are undead in the trees, it makes sense that there might be undead elsewhere as well.
Yeah, so with your divine sense, you do see and sense other undead entities around the area. And if you will look around, you'll see beady little eyes all in the corners of the trees and all in the corners of the ground and the grass and the vegetation. You'll see just every so often a pair of beady eyes of something that is watching you from among the distance. And
As much as I can quietly, I'll just like tap Lady Cluckington on the shoulder and like point out the closest ones.
And as you point them out, you will also feel this looming presence and feel that there is something a little bit closer to you all than you are aware of. You don't know exactly quite what it is, or you can't see anything, but you do get it. You have this overwhelming sense with that divine sense that there is not only one, but two large presences around.
Are they in the water?
Thank you very much, Kentucky Hawkeye, who gifts an auto crit to you, sorry.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'm interrupting, I thought it might be relevant.
No, you're fine. Yeah. Irrelevant. So it's not in the water. However, you see both of them over on the burn where the shack is, and close to where you saw Heshing sort of swim towards. You feel both of those presence in that direction.
Okay. I'll just lean into Lady Cluckington because I don't know where Heshing is, and I'll just point out roughly the direction and say there's two fairly large undead potent ones over there.
Are they invisible?
I don't think so. Maybe.
Can I perceive for them? Normal
Yeah.
perceiving? Come on. Let's use an advantage on this.
All right. So you definitely notice the one that's outside of the shack. And it's large and it's looming, and you see it poking out the corner. So where Heshing is, it's very close to the door in the front of the shack. He's about 5-10 feet away in the water. You notice and perceive it to the left of the building, diagonally from where he is, about 20-25 feet in the corner of the shack. You see a very tall and furry creature, looming about 7.5 to 8 feet tall, standing there with its hands on the side of the building and its head just peeking out enough for you to see its two very large red eyes.
Can I try to shoot it?
Yeah, if you want to attempt to make an attack roll, it's about 60, or from where you are, it's about 40 feet away.
All right.
I gotta get to his stats. That hits.
Okay.
And with that, I would like everyone to roll me an initiative.
I do have extra attack. Would you like me to do that, or are we just doing one since it was a surprise shot?
Just do one since it was a surprise shot, because I will, depending on what you all would like to do, I will allow a surprise round because it wasn't expecting to get shot right now.
Okay.
Also, I accidentally rolled initiative twice, but the first one was a 23.
All right, here, let me get y'all down. Hold on one second. Alrighty. What did you roll, Sorrow?
23.
23. What did you roll, Lady Cluckington?
15.
Alrighty. Heshing?
So 6.
6. Awesome. Cool.
Damn it, I'm muted. 6, I'm ready. Wait.
Alright. So, with that hit, did you roll damage for 9
piercing?
Okay. So let me just get his... Alrighty. So you hit, and you'll see as you hit, you just hit him with a longbow, correct? It wasn't any sort of special bow.
Nah.
Okay. So you'll see it kind of like pierce into its shoulder, and you see it kind of whiplash back for a second and kind of take its hands off the side of the building and adjust itself, and now it's got this bow sticking out of its shoulder blade, and you see those eyes kind of furrow, and all of a sudden you see this maw of teeth just wide and grin, and you hear this large and very boisterous howl as it screams in pain and also excitement for the oncoming battle. And if anybody else has one, I'll let you have one action before we start combat if anybody else wanted to take a sort of surprise attack after they saw what happened.
I'm
still in the water like 10 feet away from this dude. You're like 10, 15 feet away diagonally from this dude. So if y'all wanted to do anything at the moment, I'll give you a free action before combat starts.
I'm remaining hidden, please.
Okay. And Sorrow?
I am probably too far away to get to it this round, but I'll just go ahead and book it my 30 feet of movement a little bit closer. And if I can use my bonus action, I will put Hunter's Mark on it.
Perfect. So you use your bonus action, you put Hunter's Mark on it, and you're moving more towards it. So now both you and Lady Cluckington are about like between 30 and 40 feet away from it on this walkway bridge. Heshing, you are in the water about 15 feet away from it. And
I don't want to move closer to it than I was.
Yeah, no, you were about 30, 40 feet when you shot it and you didn't move. So Sorrow moving up to you will be also about 30.
Oh, I was with Lady Heshing, sorry, because we were talking and I was pointing out.
Moving even further.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
10 feet away, yeah.
Cool. So you're about the same distance than Heshing is, but you are on the wooden plank that is right by the tree.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So first in the initiative order is Sorrow. So you get a turn. You get
Right.
next up.
So I will go right up to it and I'm gonna swing at it.
Alrighty. So as you walk up, you see this looming creature, this 7.5 foot tall bestial creature, very wolf-like in nature. You see its maw is huge, it's open, it's drooling, his eyes are beating in your direction, and you see this kind of steam coming out of its mouth.
Cool. I'm gonna try to hit it.
Cool.
Oops. Nope, don't do that. A 19.
Yeah, you do hit. Do some damage.
Awesome. So if I can get the damage to roll. It does not want to roll. Okay, well, it's 1d8 plus 7, plus the 1d6 from Hunter's Mark, so... Ah! 18 points of damage, and this is a +1 weapon, if that matters.
Okay, cool. So, alrighty. Next.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I have a second attack, but go ahead.
Yeah, no. Absolutely. If you want to take your second attack, go right for it.
Oh, no.
Oh, so with this one, you go to strike again, and you look dead into its eyes right beforehand and kind of just get distracted and hit the mark. And it's now just like looming over you, and just kind of like, if it could laugh, it's laughing, but it's more of like a cackled sort of like choking sound. It's very not pleasant and very creepy. Next in the initiative order is Lady Cluckington.
Okay, so I'm going to use my Dread Ambusher to attack. It'll be 3 times. So Dread, I guess, original attack. Is that second attack for extra attack? And then Dread Ambusher, if this hits, does an extra 1d8.
Oh yeah, all 3 of those hit.
Sweet. Okay, so first damage, second damage, and then third damage, and then I'll roll my 1d8, so another 6 on top of that.
Cool.
And then for my bonus action, I'm gonna go ahead and cast Healing Spirit on top of where Sorrow is. I know that you're not wounded yet, but you know, it's probably coming.
Just in case. Awesome. So yeah, you see all of those strikes go right into like the torso of this creature, and with everyone he lets out this shriek and scream that just kind of like vibrates the trees and the leaves around him, and almost the air that vibrates around all of you. He is pissed, and he is not doing good at all. All right, next is his turn. It is his turn. So he is going to look directly down at Sorrow and look at all of you, and he is going to scream, and his maw is going to unhinge, and it's now hanging like 3 feet wide. It is huge. He is looming, and I need all of you to, or actually you and Heshing, because you are just within his 15-foot radius. I need you both to make a Constitution check to see if you are affected by his scream at all.
Could I wangle any sort of advantage out of you for being underwater?
No, because I assume you're paying attention, because you just said that you've just been sitting in the water.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I will use one of my
try.
advantages here.
Unless you want to use an advantage.
Nah, risk it for a biscuit.
I'm gonna use one of mine.
Oh, I shouldn't have risked it for a biscuit, damn it.
Alrighty, so Sorrow, you make it, and you are with that flower that you picked earlier. You kind of had that oversensing confidence and bravery boostery that you needed to not be affected by this. However, Heshing, as you're sitting in the water, you are kind of freaked out now, and you are going to be affected by fear for the next round of turn. So you are afraid of him. Very, very deathly afraid of him, and it is now your turn, Heshing.
So I cannot stay any closer. I definitely do not want this creature to see me. I'm going to spend my turn, I might even fully submerge and hide.
Okay, yeah, if you want to take that action and use your bonus action to hide, absolutely. I won't even make you roll for that because you're already unseen to his eye.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to hide away.
Perfect.
I was keeping an eye open for the hag in case the hag appears, but now I'm just nope. No, I don't like any of that. I'm staying down here.
So it is back to Sorrow's turn. Sorrow, what do you got going on?
Yeah, I will try to attack it again. Let's see here.
Alrighty.
So that's gonna be a 19 for the first attack, and a 13 for the second one.
The first one hits, the second does not.
Kind of what I figured. So let's see here. 15 damage.
Alrighty. And with that, you see him staggering for a second. He's looming, and he's starting to back up a little bit, confused from the actual effects of what you are all doing to him. He seems hurt and crumpled and very much confused and disoriented at the moment, but still has those wild, crazy eyes, and is now like using his his shoulders to kind of loom over, and it looks like in any other sort of context he would be like dislocating his spine, but he's like retreating into himself, it kind of looks like. And next is Lady Cleckington.
Do called shots happen in 5th edition? I've never tried to make one.
If you want to make a called shot.
I would like to do a called shot to those crazy eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not gonna make you like roll with disadvantage or anything crazy like that. I imagine as you being a hero and a Gloomstalker that you have had very much a practice with this sort of stuff. So just a straight attack roll.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to hit one eye with each attack.
Cool.
So left eye.
Okay.
Right eye.
Oh, left eye just hits. You both hit. And for damage on both of those, I'm I don't even want to ask you how you do this because this is just very gruesome.
Fluttering with my feet.
Yeah, the left one goes immediately into his left eye, and the right one immediately goes into the right, and you see them both kind of cross and come out the back of its skull. And with that, it lets out its own final howl as the red glow of his eyes dies out, and its scream of pain now wilters and dies along with itself. And you see its body topple over and fall literally feet in front of Sorrow as she just looks down on this mangled and dropped corpse that is now profusely bleeding out of its eyes because it was so perfectly hit and now just lays crumbled in front of you. You have feet my Rougarou puzzle.
In the eyes.
In the eyes!
Can I, now that I'm closer, can I see where the other undead thing was, or the other thing that I sensed was?
Yeah, so you can definitely get the sense that whatever else has that same presence is in the shack.
Okay.
And now as you see like the dead creature in front of you, it is now starting to wilter and die and instantly decompose in front of you.
Nice.
Being hidden as I am I aware that it's dead? Does the fear stop?
Yeah. Now, once you feel that creature die, that fear has now quelled inside of you as well, and you feel unaffected once again.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say, because I can stay down here a while. I've got like 15 minutes of hold breath skill. I'll come out.
All
I'm
right.
gonna go over to the door and just sort of motion to it, like.
Is there a window?
There is a window.
I'm gonna like look across to Sora and be like,
So real quick, you are in front of the shack. There is one lantern lit in the corner of the door. About 2 or 3 feet to the left of that is the window. There's a door in one window, but you do not see any other windows on any other side. There's just
it's
that
on
one
the
door.
front where the door is. Oof. All right, I'm gonna go up to the window, like still, and I'm gonna just like poke my little alligator eyes, almost just like I'm poking out of the water over the top of this ledge. Just have a little look inside.
Okay, roll me a stealth check and a perception check to see how well you are hidden and seeing things.
Okay, I'm gonna use an advantage on the stealth at least. Undecided on the perception yet. Oh, I didn't roll with advantage. Whoops. Hang on, I'll chuck another one in. Heck, I'm gonna use an advantage on the perception as well. Let's do this.
Awesome.
What do I see?
So you everything you see within time and space with these rolls. But no, so inside you'll see that there is an extremely dirty lace cloth like curtain that is in front of the door or in front of the window, but you can see right through it with this. Your alligator lizard perception is great. And you see in the corner of the room is disheveled. It's books and little trinkets and piles of things are everywhere. There's a dirty chair that you see in one corner, and off to the right you see this love seat sort of looking thing that's piled high with all these crazy books and like clocks and lamps and weird rocks and things of insignificant nature but look interesting nonetheless, piled all over around and hanging from the doors and from the walls and from everything in this room. And you'll see off into that right corner, you do see a tiny, very, very, very old hunched over figure that is sitting and holding right next to it in its love seat what looks to be a skull. And you see it holding and sort of rubbing on the skull, and you see it reading from a book just very calmly.
This window, is it glass?
The window is glass.
Does it open?
Can you roll me another perception check to see if you can see the locking mechanism?
Could I convince you for investigation?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought I convinced you.
You'll notice that you look up you'll see not at the middle like some, but all the way at the top of the window, there is a little latch that will open it. Both from the inside and the outside. They'll swing in or swing out. You'll see the windows swing both ways.
Okay, so I'm gonna look back to Sora and Lady Cluckington and be like,
Yeah. I'm gonna throw.
Lady Cluckington alights and flies up.
Is it possible before we do this for me to like peek in the window as well and transfer Hunter's Mark to the hag?
I get advantage anyway.
Sorry, I was playing with the music. Can you say that one more time?
I said, is it possible for me to peek inside the window and transfer Hunter's Mark to the hag before we burst in?
Yeah, if you want to take a moment and like focus on the hag, the only thing I'll have you do is make a stealth check to make sure that you can look in without being seen.
can I assist? Because I've got eyes on her. Can I like be like,
If
Now,
you want
she's
to
not looking now. She's not looking now. You know, look.
All right. With the assist, 14.
Okay. That is just enough for you to look in and not be seen by her. She does kind of like the chainmail as you kind of get close enough, kind of tick, 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 tick on like the glass as you like kind of look in. You're close enough where like the chainmail kind of like taps on the glass, and she'll stop for a second and
I just put my hand on Sora's head and I'm like, get down!
and after a moment she kind of just and goes back to her book, and you see her kind of flipping a page and then rubbing the skull.
Did you do it? Did you get it done?
Yes, I got it done. Ready to go.
All right.
I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna go to the door and like be ready to like kick the door in after he throws the knife.
Okay, what are you doing, Lady Cluckington?
I'm going to go, because I'm pretty far back, just gonna go up, over, and like be stationed above the window so that I'm not like in it at all, but ready to like dive in and once the window is open.
Oh yeah. Okay, absolutely. Are you like flying? Are you on like the? Okay, so I imagine you being like perched on like she has a little
Gutter?
like like a little porch roof. So I imagine you being like on the porch roof, kind of like hanging down for a second, ready to kind of swoop yourself in. Cool, perfect.
I'm gonna go and
Coop swoop.
undo the latch. Very quietly lift the window pane.
Do you have thieves' tools?
I do.
Can you make a thieves' tools check to open the window?
Sure. I have expertise
Locked. It's like latched. It's like locked and latched.
I have expertise in both sleight of hand and stealth.
Can I transfer that to the thieves' tool?
Yeah, sleight of hand.
Fantastic.
And you'll have to tell me because I'm also
I'm all out of advantages though. Although on the note of being all out of advantages, Paige, thank you so much for your subscription. 4 months in a row, you have an advantage to give to anyone of your choice. 4 months. I'm not stringing this out in case you want to give the advantage to me or anything, but in just 2 more months, you'll get a new badge in chat where you get your own little cap, and then 6 months later, it'll be all embroidered. Thank you so much for your support. I support all of you. Have I mentioned recently how much you all support me? God damn it! God damn it!
Can I
Damn
give
it!
my advantage to Heshing?
yeah, wait for
I have 1 advantage left. Can I give it to Heshing?
yeah, absolutely. By all means.
Fantastic.
Thus given.
I've got good thing, but I just know this is gonna be when the Nat 1's gonna come out.
Okay. That is barely enough, but it's enough for you to get that tool in there at just the right precise moment to click the spring and open it. If they go in or out, they don't go up or down. They go inwards or outwards. So you either got to push the glass in or you got to pull it out.
I'll pull it out so it's close to me.
Okay. So as you pull it out slightly, it does make a tiny, tiny noise.
I'm gonna go into my thieves' tools before I open it. I'm gonna get the oil. I'm gonna put the oil on the hinges. I'm gonna oil everything. I'm gonna wax the edges a little bit. I'm gonna.
Make me one more to see, or no, make this a stealth check because I want to know how well you get all of this stuff out and as fast and as quiet as possible. All right, yeah. With that. Okay, hold on. Let me roll.
I feel like the gif of the cat, like, you know, the one where he's like, I'm hidden.
Yeah, with the natural one, she does not even skip a beat in her book. She's continuing to stay involved as the pane of glass effortlessly, now that it has been oiled and properly well mended, pulled outwards in the window, is now open.
All right. On the count of 3. And I mean 1, 2, go. Not 1, 2. All right. 2, 3.
I'm gonna throw the dagger at her.
The special dagger?
The special dagger. I'm gonna throw the special dagger because je suis assassin. So I have an advantage on this attack. If it hits, it's automatically a critical hit.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, roll to hit.
If you miss, I'm gonna cry.
So I've adjusted the critical range. So anything I roll, this is gonna be a crit. Okay, so even if I roll a 1, this will say it's a crit.
There it is.
Alrighty. Okay, perfect. Alrighty, so as it says on the screen, imbued with the blessings of Kalimvor, this blade emits a radiant light when in the presence of necromantic energy. Once per turn, if an enemy is within 5 feet radius of you wielding the dagger, the enemy takes 1d4 radiant damage. If this blade deals the killing blow to any undead creature, the blade absorbs its energy and can release it as a radiant blast of energy, basically an eldritch blast, as its reaction of that turn only. So you'll see now as he takes the blade out, it is glowing, it is bright, it is obnoxious, and you chuck it and hit it directly like into her chest, like in the middle of her chest. I don't know how you did this, but you whip it and get it right in the middle of her chest as a crit. So roll damage, and the damage is 3d6 plus, what is it? It's for an undead creature. More, it's 3d6 plus 4, I think.
Yeah, I've got I've set it all up in Roll20, so it should do all the damage for us. I've also got sneak attack on there as well.
Yeah, so roll all of your damage, because you hit her, you strike this blade right into her chest, and she looks down and sees this thing protruding with all this radiant energy, and just like her eyes go wide. She drops the book and she looks immediately down to the skull and back at the window that now she notices is open.
That's 62 damage right there.
62 points of damage.
Okay, so you see, like, she is like paralyzed, and she looks down, and you see all of a sudden these like black tendrils of just ink and poison kind of start spreading across her vein, or spreading across her chest in her veins, and you see her just kind of like, all of a sudden she stands up and she looks at you and she goes, "How dare you!" And she, actually everybody, unless Sorrow and...
Because we like planned it for like a 1, 2, 3 surprise round, right? So
yeah, she stands up, but like you guys still have 2 whole actions.
So I'll open the kick open door, whatever, to burst in, and I want to point at her and say, I'll say for Kalimvor, and use my bonus action to drop Vow of Enmity on her, which would give me advantage just in case for future needs. But I am going to go ahead and use my auto crit for my first hit.
Yeah.
And then, so the auto crit, and then my second hit would be A 12. So, guessing that one doesn't hit.
Yeah, no. So the auto crit does hit.
The auto crit hits. I will put a 2nd level smite on the auto crit.
Okay.
To be clear, it's an automatic success, not an automatic crit.
Oh, it's not an automatic crit. Oh, okay.
Yeah. The gifting nat 20s in season 2 was fun, but my god, did it get crazy.
Then I will go ahead and roll and see if I can.
I mean, an auto success still.
Yeah,
I
auto
was
success, you still got
expecting-
automatic damage, you know, so.
You still get the damage. You just gotta roll out the damage.
Okay. Then, yeah, I'm still going to drop a 2nd level smite. So I will do. So it's 1d8 plus the 1d6 from the hunter's mark. And then I have 3d8 radiant damage. And is she an undead or a fiend?
Yes, she is undead.
Perfect. So then that's an extra 48 damage from the smite.
Awesome. Roll up that damage.
So 34 points of damage.
We ain't messing around.
Damn. Y'all are just ripping through this lady. All right. What's Lady Cluckington doing?
3 arrows. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Okay. 1, 2.
Holy hell.
Very
All
nice.
right. Yeah, and technically you still, both of you had, do non-rogues get sneak attack damage, or is that only a rogue thing?
Rogue thing.
Oh, okay, cool. Because technically y'all are also sneak attack, but no, all 3 of those hit. So roll up that damage.
I will have a dread ambusher on that last one, so that'll be an extra d8.
All right.
Still.
With that, so not only does she have this dagger stuck straight into her chest that is kind of emanating this radiant glow that looks like it's poisoning her in some weird way, and after Sorrow's strikes, and now these 3, like, do you have any specific region you're shooting these arrows in, or are you just shooting the arrows at her in a specific place?
So I imagine the sword is kind of going into her heart.
Yeah, it's like right in the middle of her chest.
So I heard sometimes in their brain and sometimes in their lungs. So that's where I'm going to try to be aiming my arrows.
Okay, yeah, and those rolls are way high enough that you definitely hit. So she has 1 that is hitting in her forehead and 2 that are stemming from her gut right under where the blade is. And with that, you just see her kind of like shriek and clutch and try to like rip at the blade before she finally just tumbles right over. She is dead. You guys attacked her. She is not moving. And she has the blade still stuck in her chest, which looks like it's still pulsing that kind of like radiant energy. And she's like burned from the arcane attacks, and she's got these arrows in her, and she's laying on the floor. She has no HP left, but she is still.
So we have to destroy this heartstone thing.
We have to flay her, I think.
I'm going to go up to her. This is going to get kind of gruesome, so just a little bit of a warning. But I'm going to go up, and using the dagger that Hesching threw, can I open up her chest to look for the heartstone?
Yeah, make me a medicine check.
All
Does
right.
he know how to properly open her up? But more so of a respectful, slight manner.
16?
Okay, yeah. 16 is enough for you to take the dagger out, but use it in a way that you can open up her chest cavity. And right there, in replace of where her heart would be, you see this giant black stone.
Yeah, I'm going to stab it.
Are you using that same blade, or are you using something
Yeah,
else?
I'm gonna use the dagger we got from the shaman for sure.
Okay, so roll an attack with an advantage.
Okay.
Please. I think it's +2 to its attacks.
Okay.
You roll +2 at advantage.
Gosh, I can't remember Roll20 commands. It's 2d12, keep higher. It's 2. Yep, that didn't work. I'm just gonna roll 2d20. We'll take whatever the higher one is. So the higher one is a 19, so that'd be 21.
Awesome. Yep. And a 21 to hit. Yeah, that definitely hits. Roll out some damage for me. And since this is an undead and you are using the blade, you do 2d6 plus 3 damage. And I'm gonna double that because this is technically a critical hit. You are standing above it. It's not moving. The lady's already dead. This is a crit hit on it.
18 points.
Alrighty, so that is enough to, you use the hilt instead of the blade because you want to crack this thing, and you bring the hilt of the blade down, and it sends this crack that shards and splinters and splitters itself all over this gem, and it is very, very close to breaking. You have dented it and you have started to crack it. I need one more attack from you to shatter this thing.
All right. Still with advantage?
Yep, advantage once again, almost like a crit.
Just a 10.
Even with a 10, it's not big, it's not anything crazy. Even with a 10, that does hit, so roll me up that damage one more time to finally see if this is the killing blow to this Hearthstone.
14 this time.
Oh yeah, that's well more than enough. So this time you hit it again, and you just go straight into the gem, shatter it, and you go straight into the floor. So now like the hilt of the sword has caused this indentation in the wood floor beneath you, and it shatters this stone, which shards are sent flying and scattering all over the place. And you see that the body of the hag that was once open before you is now wilting and turning to ash before you.
I'll turn around and offer the dagger back to Hesting.
Can we tell that it's doing that thing where it can like pulse out?
Like the blade itself is still pulsing that energy, and it's dulling a little bit now after this Hearthstone has been kind of decimated and destroyed. The dull is sort of fading, but it's still around. It's still there, but not as bright or as present as it was before.
The effect it has of doing the radiant blast, would that be
thing that you see? So it's
okay.
It's color, but it's continually pulsing instead of just when it's like around a creature. And it has a purplish hue to it. It's like a very pretty purple.
Can I Arcana to try to figure out what it can do?
Oh yeah, make an Arcana check. 16? Oh yeah. So you notice that the energy is a little different, but the properties of the arcane nature of it are the same as like an eldritch blast of that sort of like blasting damage, that radius, the length of it and such. It's just a slightly different color because it's fueled with a necromantic energy imbued with a divine radiant energy. So it's this pretty pale purple instead of like a dark evil or a white or a yellow light. It's this combination of the two.
Can I snatch the dagger and using primeval awareness find the largest cluster of undead, fly out the window and let the blast go towards it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sweet.
So what are you trying to do? Are you just trying to like shoot something undead?
I mean, we have the energy, and there was a giant tree full of spooky undead crow nonsense.
Oh, yeah,
It'd be nice if we could sort of blah.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're trying to like shoot it out of the window at like towards the undead tree, absolutely, you could do that. Roll me an attack.
Yeah.
So it'll get a to that attack.
+2 with Dex?
Yep.
Okay, that'll be the same as my longbow.
Oh!
Heck yeah! Okay. So you take this blade and kind of like twist it in your hand, and all of a sudden like force it outwards, and you see this divine, beautiful purple light shine out of the window and spark and shoot itself all the way down to the undead tree, and you see it hit right in the center of this undead tree and make a giant explosion. All these undead crows that were sitting in the branches kind of go flying off, and you actually do kill a couple of them, which just kind of like they attempt to fly off and they get burned in the blast and kind of like turn into little chicken, like cooked little chicken, undead chicken
I
loaves.
find that offensive as a chicken.
Hey, you destroyed some of your own bird brethren. Undead bird brethren already, but yeah, no, you see it kind of like light up the tree. Now the tree is kind of like sparking before it dies out. It doesn't catch fire or anything crazy, but you do deal a very beautiful hole in the center of this tree now. It's just this perfectly circular hole.
Then I'll extend the dagger back out in my talon to Heshing.
Well, do I get to keep this?
I
I
gave
guess
it.
we could try to give it back, but
I put it in my sack.
I'll pick up the skull that we came here to get.
Okay. So as you pick up the skull, you do realize that like it's a pretty big skull. It's not like massive or it's bigger than a usual sized human skull. And it has crystals growing on the sides of it. And you see that those crystals right now are emanating a very dark purple glow from them. And as you pick it up, they do kind of pulse a little bit. Nothing that you see is of danger, but you do notice it is just a weird feature of the skull itself.
Okay. Well, I expect this is what Lady Oliva wanted.
Well, then let's get back, shall we?
Yeah.
And as you all are about to leave, roll me one perception check. Everybody roll me one conglomerative perception check.
Again?
just admiring my footy work on the tree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are admiring your handiwork by far. And as you're all kind of looking around one last time, you know, Sorrow, you're kind of more fixated on the skull. So it is Heshing who kind of looks back at the pile of dust and ash that was once Aura Angla, the lone wretch of Bogsmire, and sees in the pile some sort of satchel.
Satchel, eh?
And
Yeah, yoink.
if you go over to it and touch it, make a crap. I don't know what I want you to make on this because it's not something you wouldn't know what this is. So let's make an Arcana check for you.
Oh boy.
It does have a little
Can't
nature. Yeah, if anybody wants to make it who's looking at him or might see what he's pulling out, it's an Arcana check I'm gonna have you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as you pull it out, Sorrow, you're still fixated on the skull. It is fascinating to you. It is beautiful. It is creepy. It is everything you want and more. So Heshing, you kind of notice it immediately, just because you're the one who's touching it. But as you do kind of pick it up and start to realize what this is, Lady Cluckington, you kind of rush over and say, "Oh, you know, I know what that is." And you both will realize very quickly that it is a soul bag. So when an evil humanoid dies as a result of a night hag's nightmare haunting, she catches the soul in a black sack made of stitched flesh. A soul bag can hold one evil soul at a time, and only the night hag who crafted the bag can catch the soul with it. It takes 7 days to craft the bag, and a human sacrifice whose flesh makes up the bag. So you don't know what's inside of it. You don't know anything about it besides the fact that it is just a soul bag. You don't know if it's full. You don't know anything about it, but you do know that this is an item that the hags usually carry, especially both of you being from the swampy type of area, dealing with a hag or two before hearing about them, you've only heard that they carry one of these, but neither of you have come into contact with one.
Papa's got a brand new bag. It looks like one of them witchy bags. I don't think it contains gumbo, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna stab it.
I'll take the ivory knife and I'm just gonna stab the fucking heck out of it.
Okay. I will just let you stab it. It's just a bag. It's not doing anything crazy. Fortunately enough for you, there is no soul in it at the moment. There's just the bag that she had got to create before she had caught a soul in it. So you just tear this bag to shreds, and by the end of it, it is just gross flesh that is just torn and made asunder.
Throw the rest on the fire. Just get rid of that. It's done.
Perfect. And you destroy the hag's soul bag in response. All right. So with that, you all kind of pack up your things, pack up your belongings, grab whatever arrows, knives, anything that you need from the vicinity of this quick encounter.
Put my oil and my wax away. Yeah.
And decide to slowly make your way back to the Temple of Kalimvor and then to Lady Eleva. You arrive back at the temple after some time, and Lady Eleva is awaiting you once again in her temple room, and she gets up from her chair very quickly and almost runs to the doorway when you all enter and just throws her hands up around all of you and gives you one conglomerate group hug, and she says, "Oh, please tell me that you've gotten the skull back. Please tell me that she's back with you."
Produce the skull and offer it back to Lady Eleva.
And she'll take it and she'll hug it very close, and she'll kiss the forehead of it and just say, "Oh, thank you so much. You don't know what it means to me to have this back. It is a relic that would dearly lose my insanity if couldn't get it back. So thank you. I feel stronger already." And she goes and turns around and sets it back on the pedestal and, kind of gives it a shine and kind of does one of those like old lady, like dusting it off with her hands sort of thing. And she turns back around to all of you. And once again, she says, "Oh, thank you. I can't express how relieved I am after all of this. It wasn't too much trouble for you to get it back, was it? Did you find the shaman okay? Did the night hag take you too much?"
No, everything went swimmingly.
We killed the hag in about 6 seconds.
Impressive. Must have gotten quite the jump on her then.
You could say that.
Well, let me give you some tokens of my appreciation, for this was not an easy feat. I can guarantee that. But she kind of like rummages. She goes into a back room real quick and kind of comes out and hands each of you a little sack of 100 gold pieces, and in another one she hands you each a superior healing potion, because she doesn't know anything about what happened, just suspects that you all are somewhat in needing of a health boost. And she turns around once again and presents each of you a small necklace with a charm attached that is the symbol of Kalimvor on like a little circular coin. The charm can be used only once and allows you to contact Lady Eleva in dire time of need, should you ever need her in the future. So she gives you this little charm and this healing potion in the gold, and she gives you all another big hug again, and she says, "Oh, now I can go back and do the good work of Kalimvor without having to worry about any other unnecessary bumps in my track. I can't say how much I appreciate you, and if you ever need my assistance or I need you again, I am very much willing to work with you all. I can't tell you once again how much it means to me that you've even answered the call yet completed the task in the first place." And she like pats you all on the head, gives you all another hug, and says, "Well, you best be off. It is definitely getting late, and you don't want to be out too far past the dark in these parts. Might as well get back to the tavern, get yourself a nice meal and a nice cup of mead."
Thank you.
And we do.
Yeah. Off and you all make your way back to the Morrow Makers Inn to talk of revelry with the barkeep and the one old male tiefling in the joint, and all sit down to enjoy whatever means of enjoyment, a cup of mead, some food, and
Polishing my new scale.
yeah, you are off to do whatever adventure calls you next.
Yeah, I imagine there's definitely a bit as well where like Hezjing's like, so we use this shiny stuff to buy more things, right? And throw
Yes.
money on him. What a wonderful one shot, Ray! Thank you. I really enjoyed that.
That was so much fun.
We are right up at time, so we're gonna do a quick wrap today. Okay, we're just gonna go around. Let's talk about what your favorite part was, and where we can find you online. Danielle.
Hello, I'm Danielle. You can find me online at RyRaconteur on Twitter, and you can also find me at Thaliolata on Instagram, which is where I post all my cosplay stuff. My favorite thing today has got to be the little 5 elements thing, and which was a cute little obstacle, and Lady Cluckington roosting on the fire stump. That's precious.
Fantastic.
It was good.
Holly.
Hi, I'm Holly. You can find me at Sagephilia here on Tuesdays, Twitter when I remember. My favorite parts, I really loved like all the descriptions were so good, and then I also loved getting my tail feather pinched. That was pretty good.
I know, I like getting that little message of, hey, I'm gonna steal this. So I was like, okay, cool, go ahead.
You stole my favorite part as well, Holly. I agree with the descriptions. They were absolutely enrapturing. I can picture every scene clearly in my mind. So thank you, Ray. Ray.
Yeah, hey, I'm Ray. You can find me all over the interwebs at WithaBrickk. Yeah, no, I loved being able to run this for you guys. I loved being able to write it. It was very, very fun to kind of picture all of these scenes with different kind of characters and how they could interact with everybody. So it was fun to kind of see how you all took it, especially because you did not expect to do anything with the hag like I thought you would, and an ambush was so perfect for all of these characters that I loved that she didn't even have a word to say. It was just over. It was very, very fun. So yeah, thank you all again for coming out to play, because this has been so great.
Thank you. Right, everyone, I'm going to put 20 minutes on the clock. We will be back in 20 minutes with Honey, I Shrunk the Party by Avery at Matt Bat. The tweet is already live, okay? The going live tweet is already live. I'm just updating that now, and I'll give it to you. Go and retweet it. If you can't stay, pop us a retweet anyway, and we'll see you for the next show in about 20 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone. Catch you later. Bye. So whilst I'm getting the next group set up, please check out our social links. There you can find our Discord, Twitter, and YouTube. Please check out our sponsors, the Deck of Many. We make the Deck of Many things. The Deck of Many animated spell cards. They're very worth checking out. And very soon we're going to start promoting their Humblewood book, which is due for release at the beginning of November. Also, please check out Mage Hand Press, who made the Dark Matter expansion for 5e, which we play on Thursdays, and also we'll be playing at 7 p.m. today, which is the game after this one. I'll see you in 20 minutes, folks. Hey everyone, we're just going to break up the streams here. You're going to see it go offline. This is just breaking it up for the VODs, so don't be alarmed.